break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't here to make.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition after a long hiatus. Opinions of the Uninformed podcast with, of course, me, Jay, Firefly Zero, whatever you want to call me. Don't call me too early in the morning. That's right. I know that joke's old. I don't care. I'm old. Fuck off.
True story. Very true story.
I am, of course, as always, joined by Rich.
And I'm allowed to tell that joke because technically it is morning for me because I'm now a night wanker. So,
and I'm joined by TJ.
And I'm not old, I'm young, spring chicken, so I don't even get the reference.
So just so you all know, TJ is full of shit.
Yeah, he's the oldest looking one here, you know.
I don't look old, I look distinguished, okay? The grey is distinguished, refined, exactly.
Like a good wine.
Me and George Clooney are like, you know, we're simpatico, mate.
Perfectly aged.
Yeah. That's it. Okay. Everyone's living in a fantasy world. Anyway, so that's what clearly TJ's been doing with his time away. He's been going to a fantasy world, and now we haven't got him in the real world anymore.
Yeah, he's been laying on the crack hard.
Can you do? Anyway, guys, I know that we haven't been here. We can only offer our sincerest apologies. We've just had lives, unfortunately. So those things get in the way, as they do. But yes, we're back. We're back. It is the return of us three white dopes. So we're going to be here today. We're going to talk about current news, and we're going to just catch up with everybody just because we haven't. Well, we sort of got a subject, but not really got a subject. So we're going to be talking about obviously the kickoff of the Summer Games Fest. Now, for those that don't know, Summer Games Fest is basically what's replaced E3, being that E3 has died a death. I'm sure me and Rich will touch on that a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I'll have shit to say on that.
So what E3, just as a quick breakdown, E3 used to be 3 days of solid dev run. Sort of games announcements. Now, all us outsiders used to be able to just watch it online, and we could all get hyped amongst our friends about the new games that were possibly coming out. That all died a death pretty much after, as soon as they opened the doors to Joe Public. And I think there was a very, very big incident where they gave away all the names of the journalists that got.
Yes, they used a unprotected wireless network, and somebody hacked it, and basically any person that was at E3 during that weekend, which, you know, you're looking hundreds of thousands of journalists, people in the industry, all of their personal details got stolen.
Yeah. Home addresses, phones, everything.
Yeah, because they used a completely unprotected network.
We'll also be touching on other things like the debacle that was Twitch's terms of service changes.
Hey.
And TJ, what was the other thing that you were going to touch on?
There's a couple of live service games that will know are like pretty much closing down within the same week. Asymmetrical horror games that are both closing down in the same week, and it's just an interesting view with a few, like with Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming out, and with what DBD are doing currently. Kind of an interesting little avenue to go down, I thought.
Well, that is also something that me and Rich already touched on once. For those that watched the Geek Show with us, there was an onslaught, shall we say, from sort of Square Enix. They absolutely murked off a load of live service games. Not in the same respect as we're talking, a little bit about horror games from TJ, whereas these were very much live service in the vein of sort of Destiny, so very looty, shooty, heavy. I think Babylon's Fall was a victim. Avengers.
God, yeah, I mean that didn't even make fucking 12 months, did it? A month after that game came out, shops were giving it away to people like it was that bad. Yeah, which is a shame because the dev team is like when they fire on all cylinders are one of the greatest developers in the world.
That is correct. Yes, they are. There was a time. Rich, I would say there was a time. Hopefully, with the advent of a game called Final Fantasy 16 coming out soon, that they will recapture some of that magic and maybe redeem themselves.
It's platinum, isn't it?
Oh, Platinum as well.
Yeah, because fucking Square published it, but Platinum made it, and but Platinum are just unfortunately a very inconsistent game studio because they have things like Near Automata, Bayonetta that are just like the high points of whatever genre they're in, and then you have abject shit like Babylon's Fall and the old Ninja Turtles or the Avatar game,
Yeah, absolutely. Looked like sort of franchisey cash grabs, and maybe they were just to get the money in the bank in order to make some of the better games, which is quite possible. Talking about things shutting down. Oh, carry on,
no, I was just going to say, it's an interesting thing as well, because just quickly going back to those couple of games that are shutting down, they're very much developer issues as well, which were leading to the games being closed down as well. So it's going to be a good comeback because of obviously our developer talks in the past as well.
Yes.
So,
yes. So as we anyone that's sort of in here that's been here before, obviously welcome into those that have never been here before, but you'll get used to us. We're just idiots talking about things we don't really realize about, so we just
there'll be a lot of digression.
Yeah. Talking about things cancelling, a little thing from me. Obviously, those that know I go to Star Wars Land over in Orlando. They created something called the Galactic Star Cruiser. For those that have watched Westworld, it was very much a 3-day experience, and in the vein of Westworld, where you go in, you become a Star Wars character, and everybody in there, all the staff, act like actors, and they treat you as if so. Less on the sex and less on the killing. Like Westworld, but more on the Star Wars side. So there was always a light side story and a dark side story. Light side story involved saving Chewie, and the dark side story, I don't know what it involved because I didn't read up on it. But yes, so there's a lot of closures going on. But I suppose you should get into the show. We'll start, I suppose, at Summer Games Fest because that was announced, and they had a big show on Thursday. Other games have been announced since that big show. So let's get into it. I will cover them in the order that I read them off the IGN Summer Games Fest website.
Cool.
Well,
just so
before we go into specific games, can I just have a quick about the whole Summer Games Fest thing?
Yes.
Yeah. And its own. What all I wanted to say was, from so far, it's been a very fucking poor replacement for E3. Like E3 itself hasn't been great the last couple of years, but I think it was a victim to its own sort of hubris and success. But E3 used to be like, particularly like TJ won't know this, but E3 was a massive social event in like our social calendar. You know, we'd all book days off work, we'd all go around each other's houses at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch the press conferences and so on. And this just hasn't generated anywhere near the level of hype and interest, you know, to the point where I didn't even know it was going on. You guys had to message me to tell me it was happening. And I was like, I'll go.
Mate, what you on about? They fucking had Nicolas Cage there.
Yeah, that proves my point.
Don't you dare!
Right,
we'll scrap. You leave Nick alone.
So,
yeah,
yeah, but he's a has-been now. He's a has-been.
Just
Nick hasn't done a good film for about 20 years. Let's be fair.
Watch Wally's Wonderland.
Yeah.
Just to clear up, E3 was very much an American event, therefore, for us in the UK, which is where us three are from. We used to have to stay up until
like 2 in the fucking morning.
2 in the morning to watch an hour and a half conference. You know, so there was, thankfully, Sony's conference, the last one that I watched anyway, was just game.
Yeah,
game.
you always got all your corporate waffles, so you'd have them on and be like, we've sold this many units, look at how fucking good we were. But it was like E3 was the one point of the year where you always went in with surprise. You never really knew what was coming, and it always sort of, you always had the battle between, so in terms of like the actual conferences that happened, you had the big 3 hardware manufacturers, so Sony, Microsoft and Nintendo always did big presentations. Everyone always pitted them against each other. It was always, you know, for a month afterwards you'd all be discussing who won E3. Spoiler alert, it was usually Sony, because Sony were great at fucking press conferences.
Well, apart from the PlayStation 3 era where they shot themselves.
Yeah, there were, but then it culminated in the greatest press conference of all time, which was 2017, where they showed off The Last Guardian, the Final Fantasy VII remake, and what else was it? Shenmue 3, all in one go, and it just fried everybody's fucking head.
Because
people were crying, like in the audience. Grown-ass men were weeping because, like, you know, it's really funny in hindsight because The Last Guardian was shit. The Final Fantasy VII remake took another 5 years to arrive,
and was
Shenmue
very
3,
decisive amongst
yeah,
the great fan group. So,
and Shenmue 3 was shit. So fucking
not just
two
shit,
of
mate. It
the
was broken. It was
yeah,
crap.
yeah, two of the three big reveals, but just simply having them there was
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, nobody saw it coming. I remember being at Mikey's house and they dropped, they were talking about this game series making a huge comeback, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then the trailer starts, and I'm like, this is familiar, but I don't quite know what it is. And then you scroll the schoolyard, and I'm like, this is Final Fantasy fucking 7. Like they're remaking. Do you know what I mean? It was just wild.
To give you a little bit of background, Final Fantasy VII had been demanded amongst the community to be remade. I don't know, maybe 2 years after it came out.
Yeah,
Just as they'd made
instantly,
other games.
everyone was like, "Right, I need more, I need
Yeah.
more, I need more." And fucking yes, E3 was always like the land of dreams. It was such an exciting event. But I think it really started going downhill because Sony were the first major publisher to be like, we're done with this because we're spending millions of pounds every year fucking renting this space house. We've got all these other people we're competing with. We're competing with attention, with, Microsoft, with Nintendo, with Activision, with EA, whatever. How about we just do our own fucking presentations throughout the year? And,
Data plays, if you will.
yeah. Well, I mean, Nintendo beat them to the punch because Nintendo,
Treehouse.
Nintendo stepped out a long time ago. They always did like a segment at E3, but they were never at E3, if that makes sense.
They were at
the
E3 at the end, weren't they? They
yeah, it
did
was
the Treehouse.
the GameCube sort of era they pulled off because they were like, we're not directly competing with these guys anymore, so it doesn't make any sense us spending millions and millions of pounds directly competing with these
Smart
guys.
move, really.
So
Smart move.
hugely, and it's one of the things that all the other companies have finally realised that Nintendo's approach is actually a much more personable and sort of they can direct when the information's being sort of fed. They can show games when they're ready, as opposed to we have to have this game in a playable state to show off by June at this point this year. So I totally understand why the industry's kind of moved away from this monolithic mega show. But I am genuinely also really sad that it doesn't exist anymore because it was just, it was wild. It was crazy. You never knew what was happening. Like watching conferences live, you'd either be watching them with your mates in the same fucking room, or we'd have a Discord, or we'd just be chatting to each other in WhatsApp, going, "Oh my god, have you seen fucking this? Wow! Oh my video's a minute and a half behind yours, bro. You don't even know. Just hang on." It was fucking awesome.
It was a really good time. Just to explain a little bit, that there's a show floor as well, so it would not only cost a lot of money to put your show on as your conference, but you'd also got to ship a load of consoles in, have a load of pre-ready games. So what Rich was saying is, it's not just a case of like showing, a 2-minute video.
You don't turn up to a stage, do you, and go, here you go, because you have to then, it's where you didn't just see the stuff that you didn't know that was coming out. You'd have all these reveals and, oh my God, I can't believe that's coming. But then the stuff that you knew was coming out a little later on, like that was shown off last year, like it would be there on the show floor so journalists and people could get their hands on it. It was just like, it was awesome.
It was a massive sink of money though, like a
huge bloated mess towards the end.
Well, they started inviting people to go on the show floor, and that just became
then started. You had like and E3 was awesome because you had some of the greatest moments of the video game industry. You also had some of the worst moments of video game industry. There's like memes about it. Look up at some point, TJ. Look up Mr. Caffeine from Ubisoft. He was a guy who was a presenter who presented an Ubisoft conference the one year, and he was basically a crackhead. Like it was just such a misstep.
Not wrong.
It was great to watch. It was just tragic entertainment.
Yes, it was. I mean, like, there was certain things that you'd always know it was coming. Like Ubisoft conference would be very, very like discussion heavy. They'd always
very
do
long-winded.
Massive,
There's always be 20 minutes on just fucking dance that nobody cared about.
Big massive dance number for Just Dance had come out, and you're like, I can turn this off then. Again, like a lot of, it was a good time because if you're a big gamer, or a big group of gamers. So we'd all sit on like the PlayStation party headsets or the Xbox party headsets, depending on what usually your deal was. You'd sit there and you'd be hyped with your mates, or like Rich, you'd be around one of your friends' houses.
Yeah, be at Mikey's or Matt Kelly's, or people would be around. I've had Stu like come around my house at 2 a.m, and stay there till 5 a.m. I think we watched, because you'd always get Sony and Microsoft like conferences back to back. So Microsoft would go, and then 20 minutes after they'd finished, then Sony would go. And Sony did it deliberately, because they were always a bit more free from, because Microsoft would usually set the stage and then Sony would react to it, and it all ended like gloriously. There was the year that it was the PlayStation 4, wasn't it? It was
PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, yeah.
Yeah, it was when the Xbox One was announced, and it was announced with, interestingly enough, features that are all industry standard in the industry now. Like, it was just that Microsoft had some really good ideas, but the industry and people weren't ready for them yet. And the Xbox conference, when they showed off the Xbox One, it fucking went down like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
And then Sony came on stage an hour later, and all they did was troll Microsoft for an hour and a half, and it was fucking. You watch their conference back now, and it was fucking savage, man. Like, they literally went guns blazing for them, because like Microsoft had this thing where it would all become digital, and you couldn't like obviously lend your games to people. Sony made a legitimate promotional video showcasing on how you lent games to your friends on PlayStation 4. And I shit you not, the video is one guy going, "This is how you lend games to your friends on the PlayStation 4. Here you go."
Oh,
Thank
that
you very
is
much.
quality.
I'm telling you, it's fucking savage, bruv. It's absolutely, it's one of the most savage, ruthless corporate beatdowns you will ever fucking see in your life. Like, Jack Trenton's on stage, and all he's saying is the most basic shit. He's like, your console doesn't need to be connected to the internet 24 hours a day. People are fucking screaming. People look like he's just invented fucking fire. Do you know what I mean? They're going, "Ah!" You can lend games to your friends. Like, it was ruthless, bro. It was fucking awesome, man. It was so cool to see.
It was very funny.
They just spent an hour and a half just ragging on him, man, and it was fucking great. Because and rightly so, because Microsoft entered that generation with the hubris that Sony entered the previous one with. And Sony got absolutely ruined the previous generation in terms of, like, with the Xbox 360.
Because if you turn around to people and go, "Yeah, our console's expensive, just get a
you'll
second
just work
job,"
more, innit?
mate, don't say that to gamers. Don't tell them what they're going to do with their money. They will boycott your console quite happily. But yes, it was. I mean, again, it was very high in the what would be known as the console wars, which are bullshit wars.
Yeah.
Essentially,
E3 was always a good stir to the console wars as well. Do you know, like, afterwards you always got like all your mates that had, if Sony pulled out a blinder of a conference that year, you always had a month of being really smoked to all your mates, like afterwards, that at Xboxes, you'd be like, right. So what did you have at E3 again? Because I got this. It was always that, it fostered that sort of friendly rivalry, but a shit talking between friends, and you'd watch it. It'd be what made you go out and buy consoles.
Yeah.
So I bought a PS4 because I had no interest in a PS4, and bought one at launch. But then a month before they came out, E3 happens and they showed off Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And I was like, even though this game isn't at launch, this game looks like it has been made for me. So I fucking need it. Here's £400 for a console.
So I think that clears up basically what E3 is. We should get into it, because poor TJ's just been nodding along.
Yeah, sorry,
No,
man.
no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Like I say, like, it's interesting. Like,
You were never an E3 watcher.
I like all that kind of. I can't. Like, you were watching the Summers Game Fest. I was watching your stream. You streamed it, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, but like, I was more like interested in the fact that, like, I was just chatting with you. Then, like I say, like when you play like Diablo, it's not my kind of game, but it doesn't matter to me that it's there and that it's a background thing. I'm more like, I'm there for you being the streamer, a mate. We're having a back and forth. And that's how I'm not. Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever get rid of the motion of the fun that I get of seeing games get announced. I get a little bit annoyed that I see a lot of trailer and I don't see a lot of gameplay. but I will never get past that bit because I've got so many fond memories of E3, and I suspect TJ that if you'd have watched more T3 with like a big group of mates, it would have a bigger impact on you.
Quite probably.
So,
I mean, I do have like those moments. So it's really quite interesting to say that because obviously there's been a couple of things recently. Obviously, the Metal Gear Solid thing come out right now, and we were discussing this leading up to the Sony whatever they called it, State of Play. That's it.
Which was shit, by the way.
Well, but I've got a member of the community. You know him, Andy, Idiotic Scotsman. He's like we got into a discussion about Metal Gear Solid, you know, and bits and pieces, and he posted a video in my Discord of his reaction when Metal Gear Snake Eater was, and he's like literally like a dog with two dicks, like he's absolutely loving it, and I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. But then when
best reaction for a 30-second trailer ever.
But then I like
pin that thought.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say I wasn't like as thingy as that, but when I heard, obviously massive DVD fan, but my other like horror game franchise, it was the Supermassive games, like Until Dawn, The Quarry, Man of Medan. When I realised they're doing a crossover between the two games, I was like, oh, this is like my game. Like you were saying, like Bloodborne was a game. I'm like, this is for me. This game is for me. This is for me and my community to stream because this is what I live for streaming is playing like Dead by Daylight, playing the Supermassive games, combine the two. I let my community pick what we do in the game because it's a narrative. Oh, it's fucking, I'm like, yes, this is it. So, you know, so I do kind of get where those feels come from and that.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that because the video I showed me and my sister, we watched, it's like an instant serotonin fucking release video, and it's directly related because it's from E3, and it's you can Google it, and it's called the Reaction Saga, and it's gamestrailers.com, and it's them watching Sony's press conference in 2017, which is the one I spoke about. It was the legendary conference. That it's so funny because like it starts and they're there fucking talking, and the one guy says something like, "If Shenmue 3 gets announced, you'll never see me again," and everyone laughs about it. And then like it starts with this montage, and the one geezer's like, "Oh, that's how you start your conference. Your conference is going to be a load of shit." By the end of it, I shit you not, two of the dudes are crying. Yeah. They're on their hands and knees like this, holding each other, and they're just screaming, "We did it! Every dream came true. We did it." It was just like, honestly, it was just such a pure sort of reaction thing for it.
I love the narcissism in the fact that they're going, "Yes, we did it." No, you didn't do anything. What are you on about? What are you on about?
No, they actually say that. They say we did it because we never gave up hope.
I get it. But it's just the way it's worded. It's like hilarious. We're just like, what, you willed this into existence?
But yeah, I mean, this video is like 5-6 years old, and every couple of months, if I'm having a shitty day, I'll watch it because it just makes me feel good, because it's like just the sheer joy and jubilation of these people that, like, you know, for all intents and purposes, are fucking video games just being announced.
Yeah.
This geezer's acting like I say, like somebody's fucking paid his mortgage for the rest of his life, you know what I mean? Like, Shenmue 3 goes on Kickstarter, and the dudes that said beforehand, and he actually says, you know, if Shenmue 3 gets announced, you'll never see me again. They say to him, how much are you going to pledge? And without complete sincerity in his voice and without fucking hesitation whatsoever, just turns and says, everything I have.
Yeah.
Like, he's just crazy, man. Like,
it's actually quite funny because before you joined this call, me, Laura, and Jay were just I was scanning through the Game Fest, and I missed a couple of bits, obviously, because I wasn't in Jay's stream for the whole thing. But Jay, I tell you, like, I did actually get a little bit excited about one particular game being released, didn't I? And it's so ridiculous. There's a game coming out called Party Animals, and it's literally, imagine little furry animals with full guy physics where you can grab people, drag them, and the idea is to kill them and throw them off cliffs. And it's a party game, you know, 8 players. But I've been waiting for this game to be released for like over 2 years. Since I started streaming, they had a closed beta roughly when I started streaming that I was never part of, and I found out about the game afterwards. And then literally radio silence for like 2 years, and now it's finally got a release date of September. And I was like, "Fucking Laura, look!"
September 20th. We will get to it on the list, kids.
Yeah,
we will.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, we should probably actually start going.
Yeah, let's start. We'll. Yeah, I mean, we can bypass that now if you want.
No.
I've ruined your order.
It's all right. I'm going to do it in the order, like I say, on the IGN list, because I can't remember the exact order. I know that the one that's at the top was actually right at the end. But this one obviously got me wet. Not going to lie to you. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming early 2024 is the second part of the remake trilogy, I suppose, because they have confirmed it's going to be 3 games, which was very much in contention when they first announced Final Fantasy VII
they
Remake.
kept it real fucking quiet, didn't they? How many games it was going to be?
They did. They've shown off pictures. I mean, it's all open world. You get to see the Chocobo farm. Obviously, if you'd have watched my stream during that point, you'd just see me going. Because it's Ridgetail is one of my favorite games ever. Final Fantasy VII is. It's only superseded by a game called Xenogears, and trust me, if they said Xenogears, I would throw money at.
You'd never hear from Jay again. He'd be gone. He'd be gone.
Just to quickly say as well to anyone watching or listening, I will make sure that the IGN webpage is tagged in the
description below.
In description below, just so you can go, because it's got a load of trailers for all the games and little synopses and bits and pieces, so you get to see for yourself as well.
You should definitely check them out. I mean, I don't know how many people are like these, as excited about these kind of things as me and Rich are, but you should definitely go check these things out. So, just moving quickly on, I'm not going to spend too long on these things. There's a lot to get through.
Fucking bad boy, and it looks like they're building on what they did with the first game in terms of changing the narrative and taking it in an interesting and surprising direction.
The interesting thing to me is they showed all the main characters dead at one point. And I can't go too much into it because something happens at the end of the game, and it's suggested currently that maybe we might looking at 2 parallel universes going on at the same time, maybe bouncing into each other. I don't know. Either way, I'm excited for it to come out. Just so we know, that's coming out early next year. It is made by Square Enix, which we've discussed earlier. So hopefully look forward to that. Moving down the list.
Not one TJ's bothered about. You can tell from his
Final Fantasy isn't. No, you're right. No,
it can't be. It's not. For
it's not. There's stuff that I'm interested in that you don't like. It's what makes the world.
100%. Yeah.
Now, this actually got announced at the previously mentioned State of Play. Spider-Man 2 gets
the date wasn't though, was it? The date wasn't announced at the State of Play. That was what the reveal was on this.
That's it. So Spider-Man 2 gets October 2023 release date. So that is not far away. We saw a massive sort of 20-minute trailer. I thought the trailer was a bit too long, if I'm honest.
I will say though, it looked fucking awesome with the whole Venom stuff in it as well.
It very much does. It looks like you're probably main story will focus obviously around Peter, but Miles is in this as well. So those that know, the original game Spider-Man had a pseudo sequel DLC,
standalone DLC in it.
Yeah.
Infamous Second Son business.
Just jumping back into the State of Play. In the State of Play, the trailer, was that just the Craven trailer?
I think so, yeah.
They didn't actually. Did they actually show gameplay footage? Because
they showed fucking 15 minutes of gameplay trailer.
Oh, did they? Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure because all I saw, the only thing that I didn't watch the State of Play, but the only thing I did saw was the Craven bit, with the
they opened
the
with
forest.
Craven.
Yeah. I didn't know if they actually showed gameplay stuff as well.
They did, yeah.
Okay, cool.
They sort of basically show the Craven trailer, then they say it's something like, correct me if you wish, 5 months later, and it's in New York. You see,
because he's in a jungle, isn't he? He's in Craven's in a jungle in the little.
But he brings up a thing to say that he's going to hunt the hardest thing in the world, which happens to be Spider-Man.
I wonder if they're going to have Craven's brother in.
I don't know.
Because his brother's another Spider-Man villain, the Chameleon.
Oh, okay, cool.
Possibly. I mean, they've got to pick quite a few villains, I suspect, in this.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're going to have 2
Spider-Man.
boss
fights, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to have decent boss fights. I mean, don't get me wrong, the trailer looked great. It showed off a lot of the game and a lot of the cooperativity between Spider-Man in his Venom suit and Miles Morales. So it will be really interesting. For those that are wondering, sadly, it is a PlayStation only exclusive. It will probably come to PC some 2-3 years down the line, I would suspect.
Yeah.
But you will not see it on there for the Xbox people. But don't worry, because if you're watching this tonight, I will be showing, of course, the Xbox showcase, which will be on Sunday, the 12th. Oh, hold on, Sunday the 11th, sorry. I just realised it's already past 12 o'clock at night. So I'm already on Sunday.
I'm not
Go on.
fussed about Spider-Man. I'm just putting that out there
That's
because
fair.
I feel the first game overstayed its welcome by quite a wide margin.
I would like to think they've sorted out some of those side quests because they were quite repetitive.
Yeah, just open world the game. Do 5 fucking random crimes in every district. All right, mate, no worries. Oh, I've got another 2 hours in the story. Do the same 5 random crimes in each district for a different crime boss. All right, mate, cool. This is getting a bit tedious now.
Is that
Little
all
further
side
in the
quest stuff?
game. Yeah,
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 see,
it's like
yeah.
basically go down, a police car's been overturned, and there's, I don't know, 8 enemies that you have to beat.
I may have an unpopular opinion here, but this is why like side quests can suck a dick, in my opinion, because I can't be asked. Like, give me the main story. I am not 100% gamer. I'm not an achievement hunter, and I don't care if I've completed the main story of the game. That's what I care about. The side quest, like I say, yeah, go suck a dick.
Respectfully, I disagree, just simply because,
For the
although
large part,
for the large
like,
part, I agree with you, but there are some
I don't mean all side. I don't mean all side quests, but I'm saying for the large part, for that specific reason that a lot of the games I've played, the side quests are repetitive, they're boring, and it's just filling to make your game a 40-hour game. Yeah,
exactly. So they can put on your box that 60 hours to complete. Yeah, but
it's worth the 60,
£60,
70 pounds you pay for it, because look how much content we give you, just regurgitated nonsense.
Yeah.
There's a
Sadly,
big
I think
world
you
of
see more and more of these days.
Yeah, I will completely agree with you. There is, but I will also say that there is a big world of difference between catching frogs in Final Fantasy 15 and the Bloody Baron quest in The Witcher.
Yeah.
Because, like, The Witcher, the side quests were just as good and as anything in the main game, and by
That's
not
fair,
doing them, you're missing out on a lot of really well written and interesting character studies. But yeah, there's open world games in particular have a very big prevalence for collect X amount of fucking things, do X amount of things in every district in the game, and because we all want to be bigger than the previous game, there's 30,000 fucking districts to do it in. It's just, oh, come on, bore off, man.
This is age talking mainly, though, because obviously if I had limitless time, then it doesn't really matter.
100%, yeah. Like, time is finite for us. We're getting old, Like...
But despite the fact that what I'm doing was pretty much exactly the same, like the Riddler trophies in Batman, I have no issue with, because they were interwoven with the game quite well, and there was always a little something I had to do. Whereas, like, the same 5 crimes reskinned 6 times throughout the course of the game, just fuck off, man.
Yeah,
you you're padding your bullshit, and I've got no time for it.
Personally, if you want to do a good open world, especially then you can't really go wrong if you go to Rockstar. Rockstar do make side quests, but they are very much interwoven into a story, so it feels like there's meat on the bones. And the problem with Spider-Man, I would arguably say, is there's no meat on those side quest bones. There's no real reason other than I need to do all of these in order to enter this.
It's got 8 arms and not 1 ounce of meat on any of them, man.
Exactly, 100%. Right, moving on. Well, final thing that I'll say about Spider-Man 2, we did learn, of course, that Venom won't be Eddie Brock. So those that know Spider-Man know that generally, as a general rule of thumb, Eddie Brock is Venom.
Did they say who it was?
No.
Okay.
So
probably... Okay.
I know there was another Venom, but I can't remember who it was.
There's been a few. It's probably... Max Grogan's the most popular secondary Venom, and he was another Spider-Man villain. He was Scorpion. Yeah. Although personally, my favourite Venom was the one where Flash Thompson.
Yes,
so Flash Thompson.
Flash, high school bully nemesis, whatever you want to call him. Yeah.
He ends up joining the military. Goes to war, gets both his legs blown off, and then ends up in a covert military scheme where he becomes Agent Venom, and he becomes like Venom working Black Ops for the US government. Oh. Fucking awesome storyline, man.
So moving on to the next game, one for Rich, really. Rich is very excited about this one. Prince of Persia, the Lost Crown, I should say, is coming next year. This looks to be a very, very Metroidvania game. So you'll be increasing your abilities, double backing on yourself. Well, I don't know, but it just looks to be that way. Very much side-scrolling. It is a vibrant art style where you could arguably say it's shell-shaded-esque.
Yeah.
But apparently that's going to come out on January the 18th, 2024. if
on
it doesn't
everything as well.
inevitably get. Yep, it's coming out
Even
on
Switch.
Yep, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC, all coming out at the same time. It will inevitably get pushed back.
Oh,
So,
100%. Yeah,
don't hold your
100%.
won't, unless Richard's got loads that he wants to say in a bit, mate.
Looks good.
Yeah.
I love those sorts of games. I love Prince of Persia. I love Metroidvanias. Huge backlash to it online, which I find quite surprising, considering
Probably
everyone's
the same
been
reason TJ's not interested. Not really.
yeah yeah everyone's been
Well,
championing at the bit because they haven't had a Prince of Persia for like 2 decades,
Yeah.
and now they're finally getting one, and everyone's miserable about it.
I mean,
whatever.
I will admit before you jumped in, I said, "Well, it looks shit."
Yeah.
But
Well, I said,
and the exact
that,
reason
Rich?
was, it just don't look realistic enough for me. I want, I want like a Prince of Persia that's like God of War.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's
don't
fair.
see. I don't.
No, that's fair. Once again,
Yeah.
it's I mean, the last Prince of Persia I actually played was it Warrior Within?
Yeah.
What was the trilogy? Sands of Time, Warrior Within, and there was
Oh God, there was the third one.
Two princes.
So I
Yeah.
played those. I mean, we're talking fucking years and years ago here.
See, Rich like the remake.
Yeah, 2008.
And
Beautiful
but yeah,
game.
and I haven't played a
Beautiful
Prince of
game.
Persia game since back then. So
See, like Prince of Persia is one of them games. Like to go back to the topic we spoke about before, I don't care about story. I don't need a story. Like I'm not interested. That's not why I'm playing the games. I'm playing the games because like it's top tier movement and platform mechanics, and
Right.
it's like the games are almost like when once you really learn the controls and you learn the layouts of the areas and things like that, you can do some incredible looking stuff where you just don't touch the ground for like 30 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
That's everything else. Like, yeah, the 2008 game had an amazing fucking story and something, but I played the game because it was almost like a rhythm action game that went into a trance while I was playing. Like all this other stuff, I don't need. It's just the mere act of playing that game for me is the joy.
yeah,
And so I it would really like God of War. I'd argue there's sort of less in terms of playability with the new God of War than there is in the old ones, because there's been a huge increase in terms of like cinematography and a focus on narrative. And I wouldn't want Prince of Persia to go down that route. That's my personal opinion.
we've had
I played the game as game.
Yeah,
See,
we had this conversation before. I very much like the story is important to me in the games that I play.
I'm a middling ground between you both.
Yeah, so
it is in some games, like
Yeah.
you say, God of War. If God of War had a trash story, but like I'm old enough and ugly enough to remember playing games before stories were in video games.
yeah,
Totally,
yeah.
So it's like I still, for me, it's while I appreciate what gaming's grown into, in the back of my head, it's always like score attack and personal betterment is like my goal for video. But it explains why I like the sort of games that I do.
Yeah, I think for me it's like I say, it's that more escapism into the, like I say, immersion into the story. I go back to, it's why I like the supermassive games and stuff, because it's like literally it's like that immersive experience into the game, and that's what I look for in those, with those, and that's what I'd love to have a Prince of Persia that's more like that for me, than say a side scroller.
But just to clear it for some of the listeners and viewers, obviously we don't judge what you want to play. We've got all our own opinions, obviously.
That's what makes the world go round. That's what makes it a great place. Is everyone's got their own opinions, everyone's got their own likes, dislikes, and everything.
Idiosyncrasies.
We are here for everything and everyone.
Yeah, exactly. We just share our opinions on it.
I'll call you all up and does
Yeah,
well,
it's fine. Yeah, Rich is wrong, and that's all we need to know.
Moving on to
come back later on, you filthy casual.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Moving on to a game that I don't like. I'm not a big fan of this game. I used to play it when I was a kid, and they're somehow remaking it without remaking it. Mortal Kombat 1 gets a bone-crushing gameplay trailer. Now, those that play Mortal Kombat know that it is very much on its visceral sort of merits, where the idea is you beat the shit out of the other one, and then you kill him in a very, very over-the-top, gruesome way, which is fine. But I'm not the biggest, Richard said, I'm not the biggest beat-em-up guy. I used to play a lot of Tekken. I've played some Street Fighter. I've played them all. But Mortal Kombat is probably even on my list, the lowest on the list. So I don't find it very interesting. However, that said, I will say the recent offerings have had pretty good stories. So I won't lie to you, I haven't played them. I have checked out the stories on YouTube. So that's sometimes where I watch the stories for games that I'm not interested in playing. So, what's your feelings on Mortal Kombat, guys? What's your feelings on Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, I haven't played I haven't played a fighting game for years either, to be honest. My opinion on Mortal Kombat, I recently rewatched the film. It's shit. There you go.
Yeah.
The first couple of films were so shit.
No, I meant the new film. Sorry, just to preface that, I rewatched
watched it
like
bad,
the new character. I don't get the point of having a new guy that's not even in the games in it. And the film's crap. Although I really like the guy who plays Scorpio because he's the guy from John Wick who had the awesome bit in Osaka. The rest of that film's turgid as well.
TJ dropping all the fucking controversial drop bombs.
Yeah, well, we went into discussion about this. I had a discussion with both of you while I was watching the film about my issues with John Wick 4. We'll save that for another day.
Yeah, that'll be another day. TJ shits on good films.
No, well, you agreed with me, both
I
of
know.
you.
To be fair, I do agree. I won't go too much into John Wick 4. Sort of
ludicrous is the word we'll use for it. Yeah, ludicrous.
But it's. I mean, my worry is, and just to bring it up, I don't want John Wick to fall into the Fast and the Furious franchise trap, which is like we used to be about racing.
Fucking space.
Yeah. Now we're on about we're super spies that are criminals, that aren't criminals, that are criminals. That now we
they
go to
boosted
space
cars at the start. That's how it all started. They boosted. Well, no, they boosted lorries, didn't they?
Yeah, they boosted.
And now they're fucking assassins and like deep cover secret agents. It's like, all right, and astronauts as well. Like, what the fuck?
It's just everybody calm down.
Yeah, to roll it back to the old Mortal Kombat, I couldn't care less, to be honest. It's not that I think Mortal Kombat's a bad games. They're just not my fighting games. You know, like Jay, Tekken, Street Fighter. I'm quite fond of the Arc Systems games. You know, like Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, Dragon Ball FighterZ. You know, I think out of our lot, I'm probably the one that plays the most fighting games still. I know they're good. Mortal Kombat, they've got a huge competitive scene. Sonic Fox is just as G at them as he is on everything fucking else. But I don't care. You're rebooting the game because of lore reasons. Cool. Yeah.
Great.
Have fun.
I'm sure you'll do lots of death.
Yeah, if I was going to play one of those, I'd play Injustice because it's like the same mechanics and fighting system, but with superheroes. Yeah.
That's it. Moving on to the next one. It's more of a crossover announcement. Fortnite Wilds reveals Transformer crossover, so people can play the likes of Optimus Prime. If you're into Fortnite, which is Fortnite Wilds, which is the latest season 3 of Chapter 4.
This is really not a surprise, though, is it? Let's be honest,
Not
because
really. I mean, they've had like every fucking thing.
Well, the one thing you have to say with Fortnite is they have got their finger on the pulse, and they know, like, the new Transformers film is coming out. It's being pumped very, very hard. The advertising.
Awesome
from an advertising point of view, it is everywhere at the moment, isn't it? The new Transformers, and for Fortnite to jump on the back, it's what they do. You know, like whatever IP is like sitting up there in the trending section, they go and get it. They lock it down. It's one thing you got to say. Like with Fortnite, they are. I wonder how easy it is for them now because. Early doors, you bring out this game. Yeah, we've got this, like, you know, this shooting game. You know, it's over the shoulder. It's not first person. It's kind of this quirky building mechanics that we've got going on. It's we're kind of like trying to compete with COD, but we're not trying to compete with COD in the same. You know, we're bringing in a younger audience. Give us your IP. And I imagine it must have been quite difficult to sell that at the start until they saw, obviously, the game started doing well. But now. I imagine companies are like, oh, we fucking would love to get a Fortnite crossover. Oh man,
they're probably fighting off.
Exactly. So like Fortnite have got themselves well jacked into the system, and they must like it's at this point like whatever's top of the trending list. That's what's going to be next. The next IP for Fortnite.
Not only that, but obviously it's owned by Unreal Engine 5. Whatever you may think of Unreal Engine 5 looks fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
And if you look at Fortnite now and its graphical style is, you know, absolutely stunning for what game it was to where it became. Not only that, but they've had was it Star Wars reveals in the game where people have just been in a massive server.
There's been
altogether.
concerts.
Yeah, they had.
There's been
I think it's like
concerts
Kid
that people have
Leroy
gone
and some
to.
other people. Like it's like
You know,
that's so
insane.
bizarre. Like Drake, I think did it as well, didn't he? Drake did a Fortnite
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like I say,
madness.
so dislike it if you want. I'm not a big Fortnite person, but I
didn't mind
can't
Fortnite.
deny what they've done. I cannot deny it. No matter how much I try, I cannot deny it. So unless anyone else want to touch any more Fortnite points?
Big playing is Optimus Prime's fucking awesome. I wish I could do that in Apex.
What I want to know is actually, did they show any trailer of it? Can you turn yourself into a car? Because I know you can get in vehicles and drive off in Fortnite. And
I would
Yeah.
be shocked if you
they've got to. They've got to, right? They've got like that. Like to actually have that as a mechanic.
If Goku can
got
fly around on his
Yeah.
fucking cloud,
Yeah.
then yeah,
Or
I
without
hope
the
so,
cloud.
wouldn't
to.
you?
Yeah, they're going to sell gangbusters of that DLC, 100%.
Yeah.
Also, it won't even be so much DLC. It'll be something that it'll be in-game coins. I suspect.
I think from what I can gather, I think it's the reward for finishing the battle pass.
Yes, probably. That
Right,
wouldn't
okay.
shock me. Because they, and then you're encouraging growth because if your battle pass costs you £9 and you've got how many fucking million people playing it, it's going to make gangbusters. Is the simple fact. Right now, going back to a classic, Sonic has finally had a 2D. What do they call it? 2.5D game.
2.5D game looks fucking great.
Actually, looks pretty impressive. It's 4-player co-op as well.
Sonic
You can choose
Superstars.
between- it's Sonic Superstars. That's what it is. So you can choose between Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy Rose, which isn't, I believe, Sonic's girlfriend. I could be way far from the tree here.
Yes, the pink hedgehog.
And you can all play at the same time, which I've never known them do. So I could be wrong, but I don't ever remember them doing it. But these are also classic Sonic appearances in Sonic Generations, Sonic Forces. Game is going to come out in autumn. It says fall, but that's autumn. So, I mean, I'll be honest, if you watch the trailer, kids, you'll see they do a very nice thing where they show original Sonic running around and then he passes through a little portal thing and he becomes a 2.5D Sonic. It looks very impressive. It's all side-scrolling, so none of the 3D mechanics that everyone seems to hate because, for whatever reason, Sonic just didn't seem to transfer very well to 3D.
It doesn't work. Speed and 3D just aren't. Yeah.
So I won't harper too much on about that. Obviously, do go and check it out. I do think it looks very impressive. Moving on to another game that I'm looking forward to because I'm a big fan of the series. Alan Wake 2 got a huge replay. It shows 2 characters playing. So it's 50. According to this, Alan Wake 2 is coming out on October 17th, which got announced.
Back in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
no worries, dude.
We got our best look at the game so far at Summerfest. It's got 2 playable characters, Alan Wake and Saga Anderson, with a 50-50 split between the 2 of them. Saga is an FBI agent in the Pacific Northwest, while Alan Wake is trying to do something that I won't ruin. But you'll probably...
Oh, cool. I just read that. Brilliant. Wicked.
Yeah. Shouldn't have read it.
No, we could have given me a fucking warning to that.
To be honest, as I was reading it, I was like, oh, I can't say anything else. But yes, it looks absolutely fantastic. Very horror inspired. It's very Stephen King inspired. So the original used a flashlight to weaken enemies, and then you could shoot them because they were like sort of ghosty, spirity things. This looks like it's emphasizing all of that all out. Can't even see anything showing a flashlight health bar, which is what you had in the other one because you had to keep putting batteries in the damn thing. The shortest battery life you have ever seen in a video game, Alan Wake seems to have. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and thankfully it's only a couple of months away, really, October 17th. You can pre-order it. It is doing something very strange. It's only coming out as a digital download. It's not going to have a physical release, so that they can keep the cost at £50, whatever the equivalent is in your country.
Nice.
But this may start a trend. I don't think it will. It's had some backlash.
I think it. I think this. It may be the early, like you say. I don't think it's going to start a trend that's going to hit us anytime soon.
No,
but it is the future. Cloud-based digital gaming is the future. The hard copies Like, look at DVDs. When everyone's like, "Oh, fucking Netflix, this ain't gonna work." Like, no. We go down to Blockbusters. Where's your Blockbusters now?
Yeah. Well, I've been saying for years, like Microsoft don't want to make consoles anymore. Microsoft haven't wanted to make consoles for a couple of generations. They don't want you to buy a system. They want you to buy a service. Like the second, you can see, Jay, I'll tell you, I've been saying this for like a decade. Microsoft's business strategy is they don't want to sell you a box to go under your telly. They want to sell you a Fire Stick that you plug into your telly that lets you stream games from online from the cloud, and all that Fire Stick will be xCloud, so you can stream your games and Game Pass, and that's it. Because like Microsoft, up until the release of Game Pass, their Xbox division has never turned a penny of profit. It's always. I mean, it's the loss was something like 17 billion over 25 years, which any other company would kill them. Microsoft is pocket change. Do you know what I mean? That's 3 months worth of profit in the corner. But fucking look, because hardware R&D is the loss leader. You know, making the console and selling it affordable, they've lost billions and billions. They don't want to do that. They just want to sell you a fucking service. And people, like 10 years ago, everyone's like, well, I wouldn't want that. But now, like you say, now we live in a Netflix era where everything's hassle-free. Imagine never having to fucking install a game and never having to wait for an update because it's already done on a server. Like, amazing. You know?
I mean, to be fair, Google did try with Stadia and it failed.
Yeah.
I got my refund for that. So
not ready yet.
But I was going to say, maybe too early. It's almost like, and I'm slight tangent, but we're not going to go too far into the tangent. It's like the whole cashless society thing, you know. It's like we're not ready for it now, but it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Just around the corner,
you know. And I see there were a lot of things. Like I say, like Rich was saying, like people were like against the, people are against change. I used to have a quite an expansive I keep saying that, DVD collection, and I was like, I always want a hard copy because I want a physical copy in my hand to show that I actually have something. I don't own a single DVD anymore. You know, I own my PlayStation 4 is a digital, PlayStation 5, sorry, is a digital PlayStation 5. I purposely didn't buy a disced console because I didn't want one.
Well, TJ, look at your PC. Show me the disk drive.
I forgot I removed it.
Yeah, see?
It's I was actually looking to see if it was still down here. I was going to pick up and go, it's right here, mate. But no,
it's not connected, but it's there.
No, I took it out because it was like, well, what the, what is this thing? No,
what am I going to do with it?
I'll put a blanking plate in instead.
That's what I'm saying. So it just becomes, and PC's already there. I mean, you can't buy games on Steam in a physical manner. They're only digital. You can only digitally buy them. And just to come back to what Rich was saying, I wouldn't be surprised if in 10, 20 years you see Game Pass on a PlayStation.
Yeah, 100%. No,
buy the service.
It'll be both on Sony and it'll be on Nintendo as well. 100%. Because then they're not, once they take the hardware out of the equation, they're just making.
They're not competing. They're not competing for Sony, for that market share with Sony, are they anymore?
Sony will take the loss on the console because that's what they'll always do. Because they're a hardware company at heart. And now, if you can just buy a service, which would also make sense for why Xbox are buying up companies left, right, and center, is because
currently Game Pass isn't the best sell in the world. New Fallout, Starfield, and Elder Scrolls on Game Pass on day one suddenly turns that conversation around instantly.
Exactly.
You know, COD potentially every year on Game Pass. Like that's wild. That's wild.
That's it. But you'll pay through the nose, and when it was on Sony, I wouldn't be surprised if you're paying £20-25 a month for it, because they know that if they bring out COD, you're gonna spunk your wad on it, and it's in your head. It's like, well, it's better than paying £70 for the game, but technically you're paying £25 every month over 12 months.
It's why I've always said like Halo should be on PlayStations because it'll sell gangbusters. You release it on the PS on the PlayStation 5, because certain markets, particularly Asia, they will not buy Xboxes. They will not buy Microsoft made American products. You know, so Xbox has no fucking presence in Asia whatsoever. Now, they will, like, you know, Asian people, like Japanese people, so on. They're particularly Japanese, you know, because they obviously the home of Sony and Nintendo. They're really, you know, the new Xbox comes out and the PSP, which has been discontinued for 10 years, still outsells it every month. You know what I mean? That's how little of a presence it has. However, you put Halo on the PlayStation, I guarantee half of that country is running out and buying it.
Yep, that's it. Because they want to
Yeah.
play the games, but they just don't want
Yeah.
to support that product.
It
So
makes
therefore,
it
having
makes
a service makes more sense.
It's I've tried having this discussion with a friend of mine, Chris, and he thinks it's rare because you're a Sony fanboy. It makes far more objective sense to put Microsoft exclusives on a Sony system than it does the other way around.
Because Microsoft don't take the loss leader of the console.
Yeah,
Consoles
and
cost
well,
too much money.
and also you look at playing trend, you look at like gaming trends. So despite the fact that you can get, say, the From Software games, you know, you can get Dark Souls on both the Xbox and the PlayStation. 5 times more people buy it on the PlayStation than do on the Xbox because there's more of there's sort of with a Sony console, there's more of half of your good exclusive games are Eastern made games, you know, and they're very Eastern in terms of concept and theme. Whereas nothing on the Xbox it's all very Western developed made, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, they've started buying. I think didn't they buy? I can't remember the company that made Hellblade.
They did, yes.
Yes, I can't remember what it's called.
Team Ninja, wasn't it?
Yeah, Team Ninja. Yes, I think they're. Not sure if they're Western or Eastern.
No, they are. They're an offshoot of fucking hell. Who's they used to work for?
Ninja. No, Ninja Theory
No.
is the game, isn't it?
Yeah, Gamma K. Quite an old company, not Konami.
No, not Konami.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
KOMI, or there's loads. Right, so moving on to the next game, Like a Dragon Gaiden is coming this November. Now, I played Like a Dragon. It's an RPG. It very much it's part of the Yakuza series, basically. So I don't know if either of you ever played any Yakuza games.
No, I didn't. I haven't, no.
Apparently, they've got absolutely phenomenal stories, from what I heard. Absolutely phenomenal. However, they are very, very long. Very, 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 very long. Essentially, for me, Yakuza was the new Shenmue because they did very much like a fighting thing, and you'd live in somewhere in Tokyo. You probably know better than me, Rich. And they based it all around the Yakuza. Supposedly, if you like them, you absolutely love them. I did enjoy Like a Dragon. However, it was an RPG that I just hadn't got the willpower to put into like 80, 90 hours of game. And that was just main story. So it just becomes a point to me where I'm like, I can't dedicate this kind of level of time to a game. I can't do it with many games anyway, so I have to be a little bit selective in what game I'll play that will be 70, 80, 90 hours long, and there are far too many of them. I mean, I'm playing Diablo currently. I've got Tears of the Kingdom to play. Both of those absolutely massive games that are going to just absorb my life. So Like a Dragon, although it looks fun, I'm not going to deny it, and those that like it, I can totally get it. But for
it does
me,
look cool. It does look cool.
But Like a Dragon Gaiden, Mana erased his name, officially has a release date of November 9th. The game is a spin-off of the long-running Like a Dragon, formerly Yakuza series, and it marks the return of protagonist Kazuma Kiryu, which I assume he was from
a big deal, hot shit.
Couldn't tell you. Sorry, kids. Can't tell you. Don't know. Just don't know. Feel free to drop anything in the comments below to tell us about your experiences.
Tell us how we're fucking uneducated heathens for not knowing about this guy's masterwork.
And I'll happily go and watch the story on YouTube.
You'll just wait for the cliff notes from Jay.
Yeah.
Was good. This
it was shit, kid. It was shit.
Yeah.
Right, moving on to the Trekkie fans. Star Trek Infinite was announced. I don't know much about this. It's a grand strategy game coming from Paradox. Paradox are pretty much the kings of the grand strategy at the moment. They've done, I think, Age of Wonders is one of theirs, which is doing great at the moment. But I'm not big on the strategy games. I like the idea of the space ones. I do. I'll probably look at this at some point. However, yeah, it doesn't really do much for me. So they got a teaser, just to break it down what it says here. We got a teaser trailer for Star Trek Infinite, a new grand strategy game coming from Paradox. This game is in development at Quantum League maker Nimble Giant Entertainment. Little was shown in the trailer beyond a Federation fleet approaching the Borg, with some the Borg, with some images of iconic Star Trek characters. Full reveal is coming on June 16th. So I'm sure we will talk about it never again.
See, that's what you do in it. That's what you do in it. Like, you've got like a massive IP like Star Trek, and you're just like, yeah, what will make this, like, what will get them wet? What will get them wet? Let's show a bit of Jean-Luc. Yeah.
Put the card on there. Give an idea that you're going to see some of your old favourites. People.
Away you go.
People will buy it because it's Paradox and Paradox.
Well, people will buy it because it's Star Trek. You know,
Star Trek,
you know, Trekkies out there will be all over this, and some, you know, like you say, and then the second wave will be after it because of who make it.
Yeah, and like Paradox do make absolutely phenomenal grand strategy games. They do. It's just that, again, huge time sinks. You've got to build a fleet, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to colonize, you've got to
build an empire.
Yeah, exactly.
Busy work, man.
If you're into it, like our friend Dan Yates absolutely loves those types of games, and he will buy them all the time. However, I don't think he's a big Trekkie fan. But
maybe the game is more than just the IP.
The license, yeah.
Maybe you know, the game is going to stand in its own right, and just the fact having the Star Trek name to it is just a bonus for Trekkie fans, you know.
I mean, Stellaris is a fantastic game. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
But like, you know, Stellaris has got something like 9 expansions where like you can make planet destroying weapons and stuff. So, you know, it'll have legs. It'll definitely have legs.
Yeah.
Showing the Borg as well is just a circle jerk for anyone who likes that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to John Carpenter's Toxic Commando revealed. So Saber Interactive and Focus Entertainment. I won't say that I find those particularly great developers. Revealed that John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, a new first-person shooter in the ode to the 80s action and horror. The reveal showed well-equipped military vehicles and plenty of guns to take on the overwhelming hordes of the undead enemies. This game is coming to Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and PC next year. The trailer didn't look bad.
It looked frantic.
Generic shooter.
It looked frantic, didn't it? Like, to be fair, that, like, if you like that constant wave of just shit going on, this will definitely appeal, I think.
In your face,
it was just 100 mile an hour, balls to the wall, but it was a trailer. They're going to make it look as exciting as they can. Wait and see is what
I mean. Maybe it'll be like They Live, and you know, They Live had some comedic premises, really. Like They Live was quite funny. I'm here to kick ass to people. So away from that, going on to a game that coming from Akira
Toriyama.
Yeah.
That's it, Sandland. So Sandland, this looked all right. Again, I'm not going to rush out to get it or anything.
Your mic's gone really weird.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Is it sorted out now?
Oh no, that's better. That's better.
Yeah, much.
And your camera froze for a second as well.
Yeah, you went a bit Stephen Hawkins on me.
Yeah, I thought you would join the Borg, to be honest.
Yeah. Resistance is futile. I am Locutus of Borg.
So they got the first look at Sandland, which is the brand new Bandai Namco game coming to the PlayStation 5, PS4, Xbox Series X, and PCs. Game features Akira Toriyama signature art style and is based on a niche Toriyama manga from 2000, Rich. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Sandland.
Nope, can't say I ever have.
No. Gameplay showed tank and melee combat across a game's wide desert. There is no release date for this game. It looked all right. I mean, it looked
throwaway fun.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest, the gameplay trailer didn't really show enough for me to sit there and go, this is it, I'm going to stop everything. I might check out Sandland, however. I might see if I can read up on that or something.
Yeah, I think it's one of those you probably just buy in for the creator.
Yeah.
It's almost like Dragon Quest, isn't it? It's such a recognisable sort of art style that you're instantly like, yeah, I kind of know what I'm getting here.
Did you watch the trailer, TJ?
I didn't for that, no, to be honest with you.
So we'll move straight on to Pal World, which is like
Oh,
Pokemon with guns.
they're rich.
Have you
This
seen a
is-
trailer for this
Yeah.
before, Rich? I do believe.
Yeah.
So, to give someone an idea, if you imagine all the Pokemon coming out of Pokemon, then strapping Gatling guns to them and making them into
It
tanks,
looks so ridiculous. It's hilarious.
that is basically what it's going to be. So you're going to extended look at Pal World, a game about collecting monsters, friends, and then equipping them with guns.
They're just so
Again,
ripped off Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's so,
It-
the
they-
thing is,
they
it
really
is
did.
so
They really,
like
really
fucking.
did.
Watch the trailer. It literally, it is exactly what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, Pokemon's well successful. Let's rip it off, but add
Let's
guns
rip
to
it off and give guns
Like,
to it. That way we
it's-
can't sue us.
It's like
Um,
ridiculous. It's I hope it's fun to play because it looks ridiculous, but I hope it's fun. I
It
do.
looks fucking off the chain, doesn't
It does
it?
look
Yeah,
off
I
Yeah.
hope it actually follows through. To be
I tell you
fair.
what, I hope it does. I hope it reminds what's the Pokemon company? Who
Game
make the
Freak.
Pokemon games? Game Freak. I hope that I hope it kicks them up the arse to go, you should probably maybe update Pokemon a little smidgen.
Yeah, you should maybe like stop releasing broken fucking games that barely work. You're now charging people 3 times the cost of what you did fucking 1 generation ago.
Rich has had many rants about it.
Yeah, but I had one.
Yeah,
In fact, I had one today about it as well.
Yes.
Rich
The
may
game is
well be
coming-
leaving Pokemon for Power World if you're not careful, boys.
Yeah, very much so, man. There's
The
a couple
game
of
is
interesting looking Pokemon games actually. There's one from a Korean studio coming. I can't remember the name of it, but it looks fucking immense. It looks unbelievable. Let's see if I can find it.
just while Rich is looking for that, the game is coming to early access next January. You only need to watch the trailer for a few seconds to see it's a very different take on the monster collecting genre.
Doki V.
Goki V.
Doki V is an upcoming
I think we've
Korean
seen
made.
that. We've seen that.
Yeah, it looks fucking awesome.
Sure, we did something on that. Sure, we did a little bit touchy.
We
on
did.
that.
We did it in the Geek Show, I believe.
Yes, I think so. There's also another Lord of the Rings game coming. Return to Moria is coming.
Because the last one was amazing, right?
Yeah, Gollum.
Gollum, that done
Wow.
gangbusters, that did, didn't it?
Wow.
Did you
Yeah.
hang on? I just want to before we get into this, I just want to go on to the Gollum thing, just really quickly. Did you see the actual like statement that the developers put out? Right, it's the most funniest shit. If you can find this on YouTube, people, you've got to go to. So the creators of the Gollum Lord of the Rings saga or whatever the game's called, right?
Making a sequel.
They released the thing and said like, yeah, the game's fucking broken and busted. We're idiots. We don't know how to make a game. We apologise. They didn't even get the name right in the statement. They called it Gollum Lord of Ring. That's what they
Nice.
called the game. And
Nice.
someone proofread that and sent it out.
Winning.
Come on. Is it a surprise the game is like fucked? Let's be. Yeah, I had to throw that
When
in there
that's
'cause it's
when that's
great.
the press release that goes out, yeah, you ain't really got a fucking hope in hell, do you?
Yeah, it's
Could
literally
have dropped the
like
ball a little bit.
the
there.
Lord of the Rings is like a synonymous. Like how do you change that to Lord of Ring? It's like
Yeah.
how'd you decide to just miss shit? Like
Someone's been watching the fucking Pornhub versions a little too much in there, man.
Lord of the freaking Red Ring.
Yeah.
oh.
So
Lord
there's
of the
like
Rings
another
days.
one. There's another game coming out. This seems to be in the resemblance to Deep Rock Galactic. If anyone played that, where you play as dwarves and you have to mine your way through, then upgrade things and build things is a common thing these days. Survival crafting adventures
Yeah.
from the 4th age of Middle Earth. Now, I mean, it looked okay, I guess. I can't say that I was overly blown away by it. It's got a release window for autumn this year, so
I saw the trailer and it was that memorable. I couldn't tell you what happened in it.
Yeah.
So I just
Some
whatever.
dwarves
I mean
going
that's,
through
that's
Moria,
totally fair. That's totally fair,
building
Rich.
things.
It looked like some generic Lord of the Rings shit was going down. Whatever.
Yep.
You
People
know?
are probably more interested in it than Gollum because it was so bad.
Yeah.
And Deep Rock Galactic has got quite a following.
Yep.
So I'm sure it'll do as well as it needs to do. The next game on the list is Final Fantasy VII again, but this time it's Ever Crisis. Ever Crisis is sort of gunned up to be a story that follows the origins of Soldier and also touches on Final Fantasy VII as well. So I'm interested in it. I've been interested in it since it was announced in 2021. It seems like what they're saying here is it begins on July 6th. The game was first announced in 2021, and it's a compilation of every story told in the Final Fantasy VII universe. There'll also be new story elements that focus on the origins of Soldier. So that's interesting to me, just because I'm a big Final Fantasy.
Yeah, you'll have like before Crisis, bits of Dirge Cerberus and all that sort of shit in there, won't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
as you can probably tell,
TJ,
Square Enix love them some Final Fantasy VII business because
make some money, right?
In terms of, I don't think there's a bigger property in all of gaming that is literally a license to just print your own fucking money. Final Fantasy VII.
Pokemon, no.
I mean, Pokemon's one of the biggest anyway.
Like, I think Pokemon now, you're really starting to see a sort of backlash about it.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Particularly in terms of as well, like Pokemon's a weird one in the fact that the game almost isn't really the point of Pokemon anymore. It's almost the rest of the franchise that is.
Yeah. Yes. So this one, I think the next game TJ was interested in. Banishers.
Yeah, it looks very good. Looks very good.
So it's a new action RPG from the creators of Vampire. Vampire wasn't bad. It wasn't great equally, but it wasn't bad. The graphics on this look a lot better than Vampire, but Vampire was an interesting tale of being a vampire who was a doctor, and he was trying to find a cure for vampirism while curing other people around a massive open world shock horror, where like you interacted more with people, and you could either kill them, drain them, and take more vampiric abilities, or you could try and keep yourself as level pegging as you can and not drink so much blood. You would be weaker in combat, but people would be more likely to be receptive to you talking to them and trying to cure them. It's an interesting idea. I didn't play much of it because I found the combat to be terrible, regardless of being a vampire or otherwise.
Yeah.
Maybe this will sort it out. I don't know. Just to give you the thing, just to give you the little bit of blurb here. Don't Knob brought its new game, Banishers Ghosts of New Eden, to Summer Games Fest. The new gameplay footage showed the game's haunting atmosphere and combat featuring ghosts, wolves, and other apparitions. So it could be a good horror game. My worry is that Don't Nod sort of make a very generic sort of action RPG.
What I liked from the look of the trailer is the fact that obviously you got two protagonist characters. One seems to be a ghost. So the fact that you're going to tackle the game from both sides of the coin, you know, you're obviously there to banish ghosts and ghoulies and whatnot, but you're going to be able to, and the fact that the combat, the combat, like in the trailer, it shows you switching between the male character, the female character being the ghost, switching mid-fight. So like so I think that, you know, that kind of an interesting like shift in like how the game could potentially play, you know, and how the fight scenes could potentially play. But we'll have to wait and see.
We'll watch how it goes. I mean, I'm interested generally because I like myself a little horror combat-y sort of game, so we'll definitely check it out as and more we hear more and more about it. No release date for this, so
unfortunately
it could be miles away. The next thing on the list is Baldur's Gate 3 introduces Jason Isaacs as a major villain. Jason Isaacs, who are best known playing Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter franchise and Captain Hook in 2003's Peter Pan. Peter Pan is joining Baldur's Gate as a major villain. The actor has appeared in video games before, including Marvel's Midnight Suns and The Last Worker. I've played a bit of Midnight Suns. Jason Isaacs is a good actor.
I like Jason Isaacs.
Actually, I don't know. I always find it such a fucking I don't care. Oh, we've cast a star in our video game. Whatever.
It's a little bit
whatever.
It's a little self-wankering.
And I always find as well that it's never. I don't know. It's almost like they cast these stars, and then the stars kind of phone in because gaming's still not taken seriously as a medium. So I think you tend to get far better performances from, you know, like you compare Troy Baker's performance in the fucking Last of Us to fucking Patrick Stewart's performance in Castlevania. Do you know what I mean? You're not even on the same fucking page, despite the fact that Patrick Stewart's one of the most lauded actors of you know, classically trained actors of a generation. Like, it was shit in comparison because he's an actor. He's not a video game / voice actor. Yeah. Do you know? I always tend to find.
Sorry, go on. No, finish.
I was just going to say, I always tend to find when you get these big star casting announcements in games, you never quite get you never get them at their fucking A-list. Do you know what I mean?
Can I give you
Well-
one thingy to the rule? One anomaly
Yeah.
to that.
Exemption.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. Mark Hamill.
Yeah, but I would actually argue
You'd say he's more
Mark Hamill
voice
is
than he is
more
an
of a
actor.
voice
Yeah.
than he is, yeah. Because from literally, like, you look at his acting credits
Yeah,
that
they're
don't have the
fair.
word Star Wars in them, and
Yeah.
they're basically non-existent.
Yeah,
So,
fair. Okay.
I see him recognise the point, though.
Yeah.
I do see him recognise the point.
I mean, arguably, like obviously, Patrick Stewart's got a lot of experience being a voice actor
Yeah.
because he is Avery Bullock from
Yeah.
the American Dad.
You had,
series.
that was maybe not the best example because that was considerably before he did.
Yeah,
And you've
yeah.
got the American Dad, but like the Castlevania Lords of Shadows, like, you know, your protagonist was fucking Robert Carlyle, and your antagonist was Patrick Stewart. That should have been like the greatest sort of produced and acted game that ever existed, and yet Soul Reaver still bodies it. You know.
But then
Soul
also,
Reaver's
could
actually,
you?
there's word Soul Reaver might be getting a remake. By the
But
way.
could you? I like Soul Reaver. Could you?
Yeah.
Could you not argue as well that maybe the source material wasn't good enough? Wasn't up to
Well,
like
potential.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I mean,
sometimes
by
you
all
can't
means.
turn like chicken shit into chicken soup, can you? Like,
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, by all means, but then I do think you do notice a
I mean, I'm
difference.
just
between
playing
an
devil's
actor giving it
advocate.
all
No, I get it.
to an actor, sort of, kind of phoning in a performance, and that's almost sort of what it felt like, So yeah, whenever they go, "Wow, we've got such and such for a game," I'm like, fucking cool. Like, it doesn't sway my decision either way.
No,
like,
yeah.
I mean, if I was a Baldur's Gate fan, like, it wouldn't matter if the enemy was
No.
voiced by him or
Yeah.
some next geezer. Like, I'm buying the game anyway. You know?
I am a Baldur's Gate fan, and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to the game, but only because it's made by the people who made the Divinity series, and they
Which is
make
like
a
your
very,
crack,
very
though.
interesting sort of tabletop RPG in a video game with a lot of multiple choice that can be up to 4 players co-op, and you really feel like you're going through a D&D tabletop experience, but with a big, beautifully created 3D world. So I'm interested in the game for that reason mainly. I don't
Yeah.
really care that Jason Isaacs is in there.
So
If
they
they
spent.
put Joe Bloggs as that villain, I'd have just gone, okay, it's that villain. I'm not. Doesn't matter if it looks like Jason Isaacs or not, or speaks like Jason Isaacs. I like good voice actors, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I spent considerably longer on that segment to basically say I don't give a frog's fat ass.
Yeah, fair
Yes.
enough. That's that's completely fair, dude.
Now, another question that we discussed previous to us starting the pod is, of course, will Arnett stop by the Summer Games Fest to have a look at?
This is me being
Come
an
on.
idiot, right?
Yes, this is a little bit TJ made.
But I did watch it on a small screen. It was a small little thing I saw. Okay, I'm just prefacing before Jay slams me.
Yes. So Will Arnett showed up at the Games Fest to show off the Twisted Metal TV series. Now, arguably, this is a series that doesn't really make a lot of sense for why you would make it into a TV series, being it's about a group of people who drive cars and then
That
try and
shoot
kill
each
each
other.
other.
Like, honestly, I wish I was in the pitch meeting. I was a fly on the wall for a pitch meeting for this. Right, guys, Last of Us has absolutely fucking smashed it. Now, why don't we look and mine through our extensive back catalogue of narrative-driven story games that we can replicate the Last of Us success, so we can pull in much, much more of this newfound audience that's willing to do stuff on TVs.
Do you know what? Right,
Twisted Metal. What?
I have something though that just dawned on me. Like, as we like. Are they looking? Is it like, so? Obviously, like we brought that up. Like The Last of Us is like the perfect game for an adaptation. Twisted Metal doesn't make sense as an adaptation. Like you say, like it's a car racing game where you. But there is a film that is a cult classic, which is exactly what Twisted Metal is, called Death Race.
You're right.
Yes,
Yeah, you are.
And
right.
it is exactly the
You are
storyline of Twisted Metal, what you've just described. And it's a cult classic. I mean, it's had some shitty remakes. like the Jason Statham.
It wasn't a great film in respect.
No,
but,
it's
like,
no, it's not. I mean, yeah, when you've got like the Sylvester Stallone character
yes,
as like
Sly Stallone, and,
David Carradine, wasn't it?
no,
Was
Carradine, that's it.
Frankenstein or and,
and
then Jason Statham was obviously in the remake, and then they had one of the geezers from Bros. Whatever his name is, do the ones after that, but they're inconsequential. But it has a cult following. The film has a cult following, and maybe they're thinking 100%. That they can touch on that with this. Well, you know, it's an interesting take. It's an
that as a concept is much easier to sell. It'd be like trying to make a series out of Mad Max Fury Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
like I don't think you can, because that shit works. Because it was 2 hours and 15 minutes. You can't get any more fucking mileage out of that. Like, I don't think you can anyway.
No.
I'd love to be proven wrong.
It's going to be interesting to see where it's going to go. Like
we may even do a pod on it, kids. So we'll see. We'll see. We are discussing.
It's that. I think it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because on the face of it, on the surface, you're like, this makes no sense. This is going to be shit. But then there are just those little threads that you're like, maybe. And like if they like flesh out some characters and like go a little bit. Also, you just have the bare bones of a story, which is the cars, the fighting, the killing. You can pretty much do whatever you want with the back, you know. So
there is a story. There is.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
but
it does have quite extensive lore, doesn't it?
But you can, but what I'm saying, like you can go in a way that could be potentially quite interesting with it, you know.
Yes.
So
I
also think you don't have the expectations, because The Last of Us, if The Last of Us was anything other than fucking sensational, we'd riot.
Well, we all said, didn't we? We said after watching the first couple of episodes, if they don't do this, and this, that's it. It's we're never watching this ever again.
Yeah.
Whereas all I'm expecting for Twisted Metal is to see some fucking
carnage.
Anything else is like, you know.
So just
in addition to.
Well, sorry, Karen Rich.
I was just going to say, anything else, all I'm expecting is just to see some cars explode. So anything in terms of story, it's almost inconsequential.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's like the story in the game, like I was saying earlier, like it doesn't really need to be there because you're tuning in to see the shit blow up, aren't you?
Essentially, it's probably going to be a popcorn muncher, if I'm honest. It's, you know, you'll wait till all 6 episodes come out and then just smash
I do feel that length of episode is going to be interesting because if they do like 30 to 35-minute episodes, pucker. If they're like full hour episodes, it might jar a little bit and it might wear thin.
Yeah.
Right, now to just point out TJ's error. So, Will Arnett stop by?
While you discuss this, I'm just popping because apparently I have the bladder of a pregnant person today.
I'm starting to believe it.
Cool.
Will Arnett stopped by because he is voicing Sweet Tooth. So, TJ looked at a thumbnail and saw a large man dressed in a clown mask, which is Sweet Tooth, and knew that Sweet Tooth was going to be spoken by Will Arnett.
No, I thought Will Arnett was playing Sweet Tooth. My initial thing was, Jesus, Will Arnett has put on some timber. Like about 100 pounds of it. He's been eating at Wendy's regularly.
Every day. I'm putting on weight for the role.
For the role, obviously, yes.
But no, Will Arnett is just voicing Sweet Tooth. It is, in fact, Samoa Joe who is playing Sweet Tooth. And Anthony Mackie is there as John Doe, which, if you played the game, he was, I think, the driver of. He was like a muscle car. I can't remember what it was. Roadkill, I think, maybe. So that's come in. The trailer looks okay. I will say that fuck all to do with cars in the trailer, as it was just Samoa Joe beating.
Well, it was less of a trailer, wasn't it, and more of like a 5-minute. Well, no, it wasn't 5 minutes. I think it was about 2.5 minutes of actual in-series, like a section taken from the series.
Of Sweet Tooth fucking doing a duet with Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, the Cisco's song.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
So, at very least, maybe it'll be entertaining, but we'll see. I'm going to watch it.
Worthy of a check out. It's
not out on It's not out until 27th of July on Peacock. We don't get Peacock here in the UK, so it'll be on something else. It'll be on.
Laddie.
Exactly. It'll be somewhere. Let's say.
Yeah.
Marvel Snap is going to a new competitive mode. I won't waste any time on that. I haven't played any Marvel Snap. I couldn't really tell you. It's a card battling game, and I think people play it about as much as I can give you. Because I've never played it. I have no interest in playing it. It seems very gachery to me. So I'll move swiftly on from that. Obviously, new trailer for Season 4 of Modern Warfare 2. They get a new map, I believe. Trailer showed
It's got like
themes
a
after
football
castle,
stadium and
and an abandoned zoo.
Yeah,
So
so geezer slapping some C4 to a giant football and then shooting it over to someone, and I'm like, yeah, that's fun. That's fun for this one specific instance where that actually worked, and then the entirety of the time you'll be playing that game, you're just trying to replicate that to no success.
Yeah.
So the next game, I mean, unless there's anything else you pair want to talk about Modern Warfare 2,
pretty much
so.
not
It's
really. I don't really play
self-explanatory,
Modern
isn't it?
Warfare 2.
I'm out of COD. I'm out. I don't think I'll ever go back.
It's COD.
So,
I'm sure everyone will rave about it because it's COD.
Came back from Modern Warfare, enjoyed Modern Warfare, enjoyed the first season of Warzone. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm out. Path of Exile 2 gameplay trailer. Now, Path of Exile 2 is very similar to the recently released Diablo 4, so I suspect this is just to get on the bandwagon. It is, however, free to play. However, I think there's a lot of microtransactions in the game, but they don't limit you. I think it's one of the few games where it doesn't limit you to play the game with microtransactions. You just get extra items, mounts, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So they got a new look at Path of Exile 2, the upcoming isometric action RPG. The game snippet was pretty short, shows a mage character ripping through monsters with electric magnet. The end of the trailer teased that you'll find out more on July 28th. So if you're into that kind of thing, do check that out. I don't think I will. So ultimately, if I'm going to play that game, it's going to be Diablo. There is a crossover coming for Street Fighter 6 with Exo Primal. Both games, Street Fighter 6 is currently out.
It's out,
and
isn't
I know that Exo Primal comes out on the 14th of July.
And it's a Game Pass Day 1 exclusive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. Oh, it's coming in. It's coming in autumn. The collab is. So if you're into that and you want to have a metal,
you played the beta, didn't you, of Exo Primal?
I did. I enjoyed Exo Primal. I didn't think it was bad. It wasn't great equally. So
I got very Anthem vibes from it.
Well, it was. I did enjoy the mechs because the mechs were quite unique, which I enjoyed. I always enjoyed rolling around in a mech. However, the gameplay model itself didn't interest me because it's 1v1, PvPvE.
Yep.
And everyone has to fight the environment first until you get into the last round where you sort of try and fuck up the others by killing your dinosaurs faster. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounded convoluted as all hell, man.
Yeah, like
I
honestly,
switched off halfway through the sentence.
Honestly, I just.
You probably, sir, you watch this back, you'll probably be able to pinpoint the exact moment
where just like
Rich just went, I don't care.
It just shut down.
Yeah.
That's it, like.
Whatever.
Right, so I mean, obviously the video shows a giant mecha Ryu fighting off against Exo Primal's dinosaurs, which I'm sure is great.
Sell it, Jay.
The only thing I want from fucking Capcom at this point is to showcase Monster Hunter World 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, but they won't.
That's all. Well, we don't know. I reckon you'll see it, and then I reckon you'll get a deep dive at TGS.
I honestly don't think they're going to do another Monster Hunter yet for another couple of years, to be honest. But that's my.
Don't destroy fucking Rich's like hopes and dreams, you bastard.
Yeah, my hopes and dreams as well. It's just that ultimately they don't release loads of Monster Hunter games.
I'm just going off the leak list that leaked like 2 years ago. That so far has been absolutely 100% cock on. So
well, we'll see. Crossed. We'll see. Honestly, so. Like I say, I don't think so because Monster Hunter, although very popular in Japan and a lot more popular now since Monster Hunter World. I don't know. I just don't get a feeling that they're going to. They might. 100%. They might.
So I mean, single biggest selling game Capcom have ever made. You know?
So yeah, it's quite possible. Not going to deny it. Lies of P gets a new demo and a release date. So Rich will talk a little bit more about this as he's played the demo. Pinocchio Souls-like Lies of P is coming out on the September 19th. With a slight delay from its original August date. However, players can get a demo of the game, which features the first 2 chapters of the game, which includes 3 boss fights and multiple locations to explore. I'm going to let Rich talk about this a little bit more because I need a wee.
Cool.
I also have caught Rich's bad bladder.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So,
Unbelievable.
yeah. So, there's no beating around the bush with this. Like, I downloaded it because it looks like Bloodborne, and it's fucking. I said to Jay, I messaged Jay 20 minutes after starting the demo. Fucking shameless. Like, it's not even. It's not even borrowing ideas. It literally wants to be Bloodborne.
Okay.
But do you know what? If you're gonna rip a game off, like ripping off one of my favorite fucking things of all time, probably isn't the worst place to start. And it's okay. It's quite. I really dig the aesthetic, so because it's sort of loosely based around the Pinocchio mythos.
Yeah.
All of the enemies are all really weird, like steampunk sort of
Yeah,
marionette
I'm
style
looking at a couple of the
models and stuff.
pictures now, and
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it looks
and it's
interesting.
yeah, I very much dig the aesthetic. It works really well with sort of gothic horror sort of
Yeah.
aspect. I mean, I'm a bit unsure on what sort of story they're going to tell with it because you don't really get a big sense of that. And again, it's not the sort of thing I feel like the story is going to be hugely important in. Um, was it as tight and polished as from game in any of the areas? No, like the combat I didn't felt as fluid. There was a lot more stop start here. I felt it a bit more difficult because I found very quickly in terms of like the Souls games. I think that it could just be my experience with the franchise, but I very quickly know how many sort of invincibility frames and whether I can dodge through an attack or something like that. Whereas this just felt a bit more. I don't know. It didn't feel quite as hard, fast, and tight. Um, but again, not being as good as the masters of
Yeah.
something. Like I find you see this too much where people go like, "Well, this isn't as good as this, so that makes it shit." Well, no,
No,
it's
no.
just like that thing that you're comparing it to is one of the best things ever fucking made. So just simply not being that good doesn't automatically make it shit. It's still pretty good. You know, now I said to Jay though, it's the whole thing I got from the demo. Is it the sort of thing I'd play if Jay bought and game shared? Yeah, absolutely. What I played isn't enough to make me want to go and spend 70 quid on it though.
Yeah.
So the
You
world
know
looks
what I mean?
nice. I think the world looks
Yeah, yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
It
I
does.
really dig the
Just
I
the
really
images
dig
look
the
good.
aesthetic.
Mm.
Yeah, there's some quite nice ideas in terms of like equipment. So you've got an upper and a lower belt, and then an extra bag. So you've got quick access to quite a lot of items at any one
Yeah.
time. You can level up in the game in the demo and stuff like that. So you get maybe 4 weapons to play through. There's like a strength, a dex one, you know, a middle of the road one. I'm unsure on whether your builds are really going to make as much of a difference as they do in say Bloodborne. I'm wondering, is specializing going to be worth it? But do you know what? Yeah, in terms of a free demo, it was good. It was enjoyable. If you're a fan of those sorts of things, particularly Bloodborne as opposed to Dark Souls, it's definitely worth give the demo a go.
Yeah.
You got nothing to lose by playing a free demo. I got.
Especially being that Bloodborne is a PlayStation exclusive game
Yes.
and not available on anything else, including PC.
And I've said a million times, and I will reiterate: Bloodborne is legitimately one of my favorite things of all time.
It's one of my favorite Souls games. If you want to go,
I'd see my top 3 video games of all time. Like,
so there
so
you go.
anything that comes to it, it's a pretty big fucking benchmark to sort of come to. So I don't think any game's ever going to sort of like that's trying to copy it is going to hit that mark. But it had a good go. So yeah, worth a go.
Again, if you want, go out, play the demo, put your comments in below. Rich will may even join in the conversation. So there you
Yeah. Like, is it something that say like I think TJ would enjoy? No, not at all.
Probably
I
not.
don't
Probably
think
not.
you've got no interest in it whatsoever. I think you'd have a go, Jay, and you'd probably be like, yeah, this is better than say the Surge. Do you know what I mean? But you know what you're getting with it.
Exactly. I mean, the problem is, I spoke about this earlier today when we were out. I find that there's too much of an influx of the Soulsborne games. So I'm just a bit like, well, I understand you going for the idea of it, but like, do tweak it enough so it becomes your own thing and not just feeling like
You're ripping
a weaker
it off.
carbon copy.
I also feel like I've had so much of, because that, like, the whole Soulsborne thing was effectively a new genre of gaming that were, you know, sort of an expansion on the whole Metroidvania thing that came from, you know, obviously Dark Souls and its structure and its world design. I feel that framework has kind of been taken to its limit, and it's why I'm very glad that, like, Elden Ring DLC, I'm not too fussed about. Like, Elden Ring is objectively, probably mechanically, the best of all of those sorts of games. It's also the one I've spent the least amount of time in, because I've got everything I need from that sort of genre of game. I've had all the experiences I need to. And will I play more of them if you release an Elden Ring 2? Yeah, absolutely. But, like, diminishing returns at this point. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I'm looking forward to Armored Core 6, which is the next game that's coming from
Yeah,
Software.
that looks bad as fuck.
Yeah.
But that seems very fast-paced, sort of mecha combat.
Mech combat game. You get to build your own mech. It looks super anime. I'm fucking all in.
Change your legs on the fly in order to change like who you are, from what I understand. Although I haven't seen anything other past the one gameplay trailer that they have released.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed. So
I've pre-ordered it. I'm definitely going to play it.
Here's my credit card. Give me the game.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, moving on to the final season of The Witcher that will involve Henry Cavill. So this is going to be his last time as Geralt of Rivia, before he is replaced with the
Budget
lesser,
Hemsworth.
The lesser Hemsworth, if you will.
Poor man's Hemsworth.
Yeah. Every day essential Hemsworth.
Now, I don't think that the I don't think Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah. No frills Hemsworth.
No frills Hemsworth. I don't think Liam Hemsworth should be given the hardship that he is being given, because it's hard for him to step into.
It's not his fault.
Fucking loved it.
Is it? At the end of the day, it's not his fault. He's been offered a role. And he's taken that role. It's not his fault that whatever happened backstage with the production and Henry Cavill, like, and the direction they wanted to go in and everything went the way it went. You know, he may be amazing. I hope they give him.
He doesn't look very good in the
crap.
screens I've seen. In respect,
but
I'm also tainted of seeing
because Henry Cavill is a great Geralt.
Yeah.
So like and like it looks visually like a downgrade, but Liam Hemsworth isn't known for his stellar acting ability or anything. No. He's known as Thor's little brother.
Yeah.
Like which is harsh, but it's fair, right?
I would argue though that, I mean, in terms of like raw acting ability, like, Henry Cavill's not particularly anything special. No. He's more picked for his physicality.
Yeah.
Well, not only that,
physicality and the fact that his passion for things like The Witcher, you know, he's a huge fan of it anyway. So
exactly. So he's going to bring more of that character because he knows more of that character. Now, I'm not saying that Liam hasn't sat there and read all the Witcher books or played the games in research for the role. However, the problem is you are stepping into.
Cavill did that shit for fun. He didn't do it for research. He did that shit for fun.
You've got the whole thing. It's like going back to the voiceover work when you sound like, oh, Patrick Stewart. It's like a phoned in, almost like he was like, well, yeah, it's just a job, whatever. Yeah. Like, this is like the role, or would be one of the roles for Henry Cavill, wouldn't it? It's like he genuinely loves the source material. So like you say, for him, it's not a job. It's more he's probably a giddy child when he's like, oh my God, I'm going to be Geralt, you know? Yeah. This is fucking awesome. So he's going to put his everything into that character because, like, you know,
passion project.
Yeah. You know? Well, like, he's probably going that if I don't give it my all, then all the people like me that love Geralt are going to look at my performance and go, oh, that was fucking shit. I would hate, he would, so he would probably, just as much as we would hate to see like one of our like iconic characters portrayed poorly by someone, like he's you know, he's not going to want to put that forward, is he? So he's going to give the best version of himself. It's probably it might even be like the most passionate he'd probably ever be about a role. And unfortunately, whoever's going to step into those shoes after, which unfortunately for him is Liam Hemsworth, is going to find it very, very difficult. I just hope he gets given, like we say, that first crack at fair crack of the whip.
Fair in this world.
It's not, I know, but you know, we can all hope, right?
Here we go. I'm gonna rustle some feathers here. I'm glad Henry Cavill has left The Witcher because now it means I get Henry Cavill in a Warhammer 40k project. So,
Wow.
yeah. So I will sacrifice that one franchise
For another franchise.
I am more invested in.
Do you know what, Jay? I know this is why I just said that. It's because I know Rich doesn't have the IGN webpage open, but I do.
No.
And talk about
I know,
just
going from one to the next.
I'll tell you, you're just getting good at this podcasting shit, Rich. I'm telling you now. Because moving on to the next one on the list, what is it, Jay?
Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2
Man,
reveals.
I'm fucking all right at this shit, and I am all right at this shit.
Now, I will say that this game absolutely looks fucking great. And the fact that they're going to have up to 3 players playing co-op as well is fucking absolutely baller. Not only that, but it's the Tyranids. So it's basically being a Space Marine against literally waves and waves and waves of Xenomorphs.
This thing deserves if you've played StarCraft.
Yeah. They are just... Jesus Christ, unstoppable. I mean,
Starship Troopers.
Some scenes, yeah.
Starship Troopers.
If you look at just some of the images in this game, there's a bit where you literally see a swarm of these Tyranids coming towards, I can't remember his name, Thanos? No, not Thanos. What's his name? The main guy.
Cassius, isn't it?
No,
is it Cassius?
Thasius something or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember anyway. But yeah, he's literally sitting there on the top of a tower looking like a cathedral, just hammering bullets into a complete tunneling wave of these, I'm forgetting anything, Tyranids. So that's coming winter. So I'm looking forward to that 100%. You can get the original game. It is on Steam. However, you will have to fanny around if you want to play with a gamepad. I found out. But that game is still good to this day. Still good. Still got a big, massive cult following. It's probably the best Warhammer 40k game that you can play first in a third person.
Yep, I was going to say it's the best 40k game that doesn't have the words Dawn of War at the front of them.
Exactly. And moving on to something that you love, Rich, straight into something that TJ is very, very, very excited about.
I just want to say, before you get into that, I can't fucking wait for Space Marine 2. It looks fucking awesome. It just looks a great game, you know. And then the fact that it's set, and it's not just set in the 40k, it's authentically set in the 40k universe. Like, so everything will be lore accurate, everything will be canon. Like, you actually get the first Space Marine game is the only game that I actually feel they did the guns justice, because everyone thinks Space Marine guns, because they look like machine guns, are machine guns. They're not. Like, bolters are, they literally, the bullets they fire are cans of monster-sized grenades, and they fire those at machine gun speeds. Like, and you really got that. It just exploded, didn't it? It was great.
It absolutely looks phenomenal. Anyway. I won't lie. Did you watch the trailer, TJ? Or have you
I didn't for that one. No.
Yeah. It is worth watching the trailer. Definitely worth watching the trailer. Probably one that you'd play on your own, though, more so than stream. I mean, you might. Nicolas Cage is, of course, coming to Dead by Daylight.
Don't you shake your head, Richard.
I'm not going to say much about this. I'm going to tell you that the Nick Cage chapter comes out on July 25th. But I'm going to leave this to my other co-host, TJ, to talk about this. TJ.
Oh, I am very, very happy about this. I am. I think this is genius. I think this is a genius move. And there's been some backlash online that Nicolas Cage is coming to Dead by Daylight, and people are like, oh, it doesn't represent horror. Go and fucking jump off a bridge. No, I'm only joking. Please don't do that. Like, look at the bigger picture. This is a great IP to get. Like, the whole lore of the Fog is it takes random people. The entity has a specific reason, takes random people and brings them in. So why can't we have a real person? Why can't we have a high-profile person coming into the game? Like, to say, like, oh, he's not anything to do with horror. Well, he's been in plenty of horror films, especially recently. Seems like he's more niche now than what it ever has been, the horror stuff. But I think it opens up a whole world of possibilities. I think it takes the game, especially, and my biggest thing with it is the last couple of chapters, they've pushed more voice lines into the game via the killers and the survivors. he has got some iconic quotes. Bringing him into the fog with his voice lines is just gonna it's gonna be fresh. It's gonna be fun. Ultimately, that's the main thing. It's going to be fun, and it opens the door for so much more. See, I can rhyme. I'm awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel it's a great acquisition because I feel he's that kind of quirky actor who, like, he's not A-list. Let's not get it wrong. He's not A-list. Maybe once he was, but like he's on that precipice of like a meme, which is like, well, I say a precipice. He is a meme in some sections, and I just think it's a great bit of a bit of business to bring someone like him in, and I think I think you'll see it being one of the highest selling DLCs they will ever have, and I think you're just going to see lobbies of 4 Survivor Nicolas Cages running around the fog, and it's going to be great. So I'm going to love it. 4 P100 Nicolas Cages running around. I live for this. I cannot wait.
Just to let you know, he did actually show up on stage and have a chat with them.
Yeah,
I believe.
he did.
Did he tell the story about it was his son that got him?
Yeah, he said a close family member, but I found out from someone else. Yeah, his son plays Dead by Daylight and is a big fan of Dead by Daylight. So
there you go. So look forward to Nicolas Cage. He is coming July 25th. Do go and check out the trailer. Go and check out the little chat that he had if you want to see.
So I can't fucking stand coming to a game I couldn't give a shit about. Fucking hell.
So
talking
I
about
wasn't
one
mean
game,
about your Warhammer 40k bullshit.
You're always mean.
To be honest, I just wanted to fucking. I just wanted the boys.
I know.
To be fair.
So the next game is Yes Your Grace sequel announced. Now I never played Yes Your Grace. I know it's got a little bit of a cult following out there.
It's supposed to be really fucking good.
From what I've heard.
It's 8-bit, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it 8-bit? Oh, yes, it is 8-bit, yes. Just looking at the trailer now. We've got a reveal of Yes Your Grace Snowfall, sequel to 2020 indie game from Brave at Night and No More Robots. The original was all about making choices about how to rule your kingdom, and the sequel looks to take the idea and expand on it with a new wintry setting. It is coming sometime this year. I would give you more, kids, but all I can suggest is that you go and check out either the original or check out the trailer. Again, it's got a massive cult following. There's a lot of people that love it. There's a lot of fun to be had in running a kingdom, as I'm led to believe. You can make a lot of funny things happen. There is another game here called Witchfire, comes to early access in September. Next trailer is for Witchfire, creates the vanishing of Ethan Carter. If you haven't played that game, it's a very, very good game.
Yeah.
Painkiller and Bulletstorm. Again, Bulletstorm was... it was fun. It was fun.
It was all right. It was all right. Is he going to go down in the annals of gaming history? No. Did I lose an entertaining afternoon playing it? Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Saw a very spooky forest filled with fog and skeletons before transitioning into a first-person shooter gameplay. We saw a player use a crossbow, shotgun, melee combat, and more in the gameplay snippet. It comes to early access in September 20th. Now, this is probably just another game where a lot of people seem to be jumping on the, what if we made a more medieval game with more actiony aspects in first person? Which is, it's fine. It's fine. I honestly, I'd be lying if I said I was super interested in this. If it came and I got access to an early access build and I got to play a bit of it, would I play it? Probably. Now, did either of you see anything on this, and have you got anything to
No, not really.
The fact that it was announced coming to early access means all I hear is, do you fancy paying to be one of our beta testers? And I just think, go fuck yourself. Your game just doesn't interest me anymore.
Right.
No, literally, that's all I see. I just see early access as like one of the biggest cons in modern gaming, because that's all you're doing. You are paying to beta test their game for them. Traditionally that was a role a company would pay you to do, whereas now they've somehow managed to convince you that because you're getting a broken version of a game 6 months early, that's a good thing, and it's not.
I mean, it's cheaper.
Like,
it's cheaper.
It's a cheaper game, but essentially it's so they can mass sort of test it. They do still have testers. They want to mass test it. And
well, yeah,
like Rick said,
we say they still have testers, but then you look at the current state of the vast majority of the AAA industry, and you think, do they?
Yeah.
Well,
that's
another
question.
And yeah, this is the thing. Like I'd argue that testing teams. I mean, it's no there's no hiding the fact that they have got smaller and smaller and smaller. And then I do genuinely think it's because they don't need them anymore, because now we do it for them for the low price of some real money. And okay, you might get your game for 20 quid instead of 40 quid. But you've played 200 hours of the broken version of it, and your feedback's what actually made it worth 40 quid in the first place.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I mean, it's valid point. Valid point.
I do. The second here, particularly like to me, early access should be something. My game's due to release now, like the Forest 2 did it. My game's due to release now. Holy shit, we could release it now, but it ain't fucking ready. So if you guys are so desperate to play it, cool. But announcing you releasing a game in early access to me it is no different to announcing an open beta test. It's just there's a monetary payable.
Yeah, that was always the thing with Sons of the Forest 2, as you call it. Like the thing that I appreciated was I get where you're coming from and I get what you're saying, but on this one, like I like the openness on it. It's like we could push the game back, but we're going to release it in early access. Obviously, and they're pretty regular with their updates. I haven't played it for a little bit, but they are pretty regular with their updates. Yeah, and there's like even the fact they've got a countdown clock in the home screen of the game to when the next update's coming out, and they are very open.
They do have decent things as well.
Yeah,
they do have
on the discussion boards and everything as well. But I get where you're coming from. Like to just like come out and say, oh yeah, we've got this game, so early access, boom, there you go. But there's also another interesting thing on it, like something like Phasmophobia, which is a game that's been in early access for like 2 years now and shows no signs of leaving early access. Like I get what you're saying about like you're there to test the game, but I mean, that game is pretty much a finished game. It's just stuff they add to it. Like, there's no, like, the game, there are those games that are, it's just, like, okay, we want all this, we want loads of content in the game, but we've got a game that works. It works pretty much perfectly, but it's got 10% of the amount of content we want.
That's exactly, you get the game, you get the sale before you put the work in.
What the thing is, with something like that, I think it works for early because the content is, and it's all free content thereafter. It's not DLC that you got to pay for, but that game isn't. You're not waiting for the next chunk of the story. It's a game where you're hunting ghosts. So it's just we're going to add more ghosts. We're going to add more tools that you can fight ghosts with, different tools, different maps. So I think it works in that kind of aspect because ultimately, like you've got a game that works, and the game was a tenner. So it's not like a break the bank or anything. And you pretty much had a game that had like 6 ghosts, most of the tools, and the game worked flawlessly pretty much how it's supposed to. And it's like with every update, it's like, well, we're bringing in 2 more maps and we're bringing in, and you don't have to pay for it. And I kind of feel in that scenario, like they get the testing, but you're not getting the broken game as you like were saying, like,
well, in that respect, because things like Phasmophobia, there's a finite amount of content you can put into it. Like it's almost more of a proof of concept sort of thing, which like Phasmophobia, is it the sort of game anyone would pay 40 quid for?
No, it's not going to
for the most part. It really isn't. Whereas you compare that to what this fucking Witchfire, or whatever the cunting thing it's been called, is a giant fucking studio, that is the power of like major publishing arms that is doing a game, like a AAA open world game. Well, why is it going into early access? Because
I agree. I agree.
What interesting concept are you unsure whether it could? I can see the point with early access. Say if you're looking almost like Kickstarter, in that this is a proof of concept. Can we make this work into a fully fledged experience, or will it just be a tech demo? Like I'd argue, so Phasmophobia probably hasn't turned into a full retail release because I don't know if you can sustain like a big budget selling game.
I don't see. They're a small studio. It was a single person studio to start with, and now I think there's about 3 or 4 people work on it. But I'm just trying to once again play that little devil's advocate about where early access could work. And it says, I get you. The AAA section of it, and I get that. It's like here's a stripped down game. Oh yeah, by the way, you can get to this point in the game, but we haven't created any further. You need to wait for release, and then like when that comes out, like you're like, well, it doesn't flow. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's just a way of getting it. I really fucking loathe the trend of being sold incomplete products because it only happens in video games. It doesn't happen on any other medium on the fucking planet.
Well, you wouldn't
Because,
accept it in any other medium, would you?
No. If
Imagine
you
you were
put
in the
you,
cinema and saw
yeah,
30 minutes of your film.
I'm going to see
Come
Spider-Verse
back,
tomorrow,
come back,
and halfway through, it just all goes blurry and I can't see anything, and then stops and goes, yeah, come back next week.
Skips towards the
mate,
last
Man,
couple of
I'd be
scenes.
setting people on fire.
Mate, you're
Do you
going
know
to
what
see.
I mean?
You're going to go and see Ice Cube and
Cypress Hill.
Cypress Hill later on this year. We've got this new song come out. They sing 1 minute 15 seconds ago. That's all we wrote. Good night.
Yeah,
Walk off
in a bit,
stage.
in a bit. You know what I
Right,
mean?
we've
You
got all the
wouldn't stand
lyrics.
for it.
We just haven't figured out the music yet, so we're just going to sing the lyrics at you, and then we'll get to the music bit. We'll get to it.
So yeah, so like now, what the industry's got into the habit of doing is charging half the money for like a 20th of the product. You know, because once you've bought it, there's no guarantee that shit will actually come. It might.
I can't say shit. I've played Stars.
I was about to say it might do, but
early access for 9 years.
yeah.
So
Never
I
leave in
can't
early
say-
access.
Never.
Anyway, we still have a million games to get through on this list,
Really,
and
really
I'm
do.
starving.
So, Remnant 2 release date revealed. Now, I don't know if anyone played Remnant.
I've
Ashes.
not a lot, but I've played a small portion of Remnant.
I like
own the
Remnant.
game.
I thought it was
I
a good
played it with
game. I thought it was a good game. Is it perfect? No. Is this going to improve on it? Maybe. But that comes out on the 25th of July. New trailer showed locations players will visit, including Narude, a new plane of darkness. Remnant 2 is the sequel to the game referred to as Dark Souls with guns, which is pretty much what it was.
Yeah,
Remnant 2 is coming along with procedurally generated levels and storylines. That's interesting. I don't know how the storylines will work out, however. The procedurally generated storyline seems
don't tend to work
a
ever.
little wiggly. We won't harp too much on that. Do check out the trailer, though, if you're interested in playing a Dark Souls games with guns, because that is pretty much what it is. Also, there's puppies in it, and who doesn't like puppies? Immortals of Avium gets an extended gameplay clip now. Right. I moaned a little bit about this at the time when it came on. It does look nice. It's from EA, so that should warn you a little bit. It's a first-person magic shooter. So I don't know if anyone played Forspoken. Forspoken was sort of a third-person magic shooter.
That was like
very interesting movement.
A lot of stuff put behind Forspoken. Hang on, Forspoken. Yeah, that is the newer one, isn't it? That's the theme where you play the woman. Yeah, there was a lot of hype behind that as well, and didn't really lead to
very quickly.
Yeah, from what I understand, the story was a bit nobody cares. The action got very repetitive. It suffered from that because you're in an open world. There's loads of enemies all over the place. You go over, shoot them all down with your magic guns, so to speak. And this Immortals looks like it's got a story. However, I would suggest that everyone probably waits on a little bit of a review, sees what's actually going on, because it looked nice, but didn't really blow me away.
Yeah.
Basically, the story is that one guy who comes as a mage he's got the rare ability to control all three magics: fire, lightning, ice, I guess. So it looks all right. I can't say much about it. Go watch the trailer. See if it's your thing.
It looks pretty, but in my opinion, it looked like it played like a dog shit.
I mean, essentially, he's just got
I got a very similar, very mechanically. I got a very similar feeling to BioShock.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, in that it just looked like it looked like it might be a good experience, but I think it's probably going to be horseshit as a game.
So we'll see. I don't think it's far away.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah,
you can try. I don't care. I'm not going to play it. So.
Yeah. So I mean, right. And a bit more onto a TJ-esque one. So. Under the Waves gets an August release date. We've got a new trailer for Under the Waves, a new game with underwater setting from Parallel Studio. The gameplay is shown to be a mix of submarine piloting, scuba diving with an unsettling atmosphere. The game comes out on August 29th. Now, you suggested, TJ, that this was more of a choose-your-own adventure.
Well, Parallel Studios is a subsidiary of Quantic Dreams. Now, Quantic Dreams made Heavy Rain, the Detroit being human, and
Yeah.
and Beyond Two Souls, which I'm massively. They're my type of games, very much along once again the supermassive game style. You know, it's an immersive, you know, almost like a movie based game. You know,
Detroit was banging.
Hmm.
Detroit was
Yeah. Really very
banging.
And this, like I say, with this being made by them, I know it says Parallel Studio, but like I say, they're with Quantic Dreams, and it's very much like it looks like a Subnautica-esque game, and I really enjoyed Subnautica as well. So this is right up my alley, and it looks visually very, very good. It's set in the 70s as well, which is just going to be interesting.
It seems one to keep your eye on,
because I think it's definitely going to have the feels of like Isolation, because it seems like from the trailer you are this one guy called Stanley, and he's doing whatever research and whatever. There's like an AI that talks to him, and I definitely I got the feels of like Isolation and claustrophobia and like confinement and stuff, and like maybe like he's in his own head, because there are scenes where he's going, what was that, who was that over there, and like I definitely think it's going to play on some interesting themes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, yeah, definitely. The next thing is probably not much to say about this one. Black Desert Online expansion gets a new trailer. I didn't really like Black Desert Online, if I'm honest. It's Black Desert Online Land of the Morning Light expansion comes out on June 14th. New trailer was revealed during the Summer Games Fest. We saw a look at some mythical foes inspired by Korean folklore and more, which, I mean, just to give you a breakdown of what Black Desert Online is, it's sort of an action MMO RPG. I think it's free to play. I'm
very
not
pretty.
100% sure. It looks nice.
Very aggressively microtransactions.
Yes,
Very
from what I
aggressively.
understand. From what I understand. So unless either of you got anything else to say about that.
Fuck all. The square root of fuck all.
Right, guys, if you're interested, obviously go and watch the trailer. You might be hyped about it. Again, leave comments in below if you want to prove us wrong.
I want Jay to say the name of this, because how do you say that? The next one.
Lysfanga.
Lysfanga.
The Time Shift Warrior is a new hack and slash game. So hack and slash, I mean, it's been done a billion times. This looks like it's going to be using time elements. So Prince of Persia-esque, which we spoke about earlier. We've got to look at Lysfanga, the Time Shift Warrior, a new hack and slash game where players can rewind time and create multiple copies of themselves. This stylish game is similar vibe to Hades. Hades is a very, very good game. The game is coming to PC later this year. Now, I don't really remember the trailer for this. I think I remember some blue copies being around while she was fighting something. I think. So I haven't really got loads to say about this. Obviously, if you're interested in it, do check it out. If it's anything like Hades, then it could be very good. Hades is a very, very good game.
I think it looked really fucking good. It looked just like my cup of tea, to be honest with you.
So if you're into it, 100%. Any more you want to talk about it, Rich?
Just the aesthetic was nice. It had elements of a lot of. It reminds me quite heavily of Supergiant Games and stuff, which is like I've been a huge champion of all of their shit. Yeah. They're the makers of said Hades, you know. They also did like Bastion, Transistor, Pyre. Yeah, I like those sorts of games. Combat looks solid. The time rewinding mechanic looks interesting. I'll give it a go. You know, will I pay 70 quid for it? No, I'd hit you in the face with a hammer. But you know, 20 quid, yeah, man. Fucking, I'd lose a couple of afternoons to that quite easily.
That's it. Moving from one hack and slash game to a very, very calm game, Fave Farm gets a release date and a PC reveal. Cozy game Fave Farm is coming to Nintendo Switch. Yeah, that's my feelings. PC on PC on September 8th. The game lets you uncover the mysteries of the island alone or with up to 3 friends. So
it's pretty much Animal Crossing, yeah?
It looks very Animal Crossing, 3D, very cute.
Animal Crossing with the
style.
Yeah.
That's it. Look, very cute.
And then it turns out to be really savage where you slaughter the pigs and turn them into sausages.
I was like looking at this. I was looking at the image, the still image, and thinking this looks far too joyous. Wait till she pulls out the meat cleaver and like, we're having cow for dinner.
Come here.
Anyway, Mr. Snuffleupagus, we need meat tonight.
Let's hope no vegans are watching.
Yes. Oh God. You shut us down in seconds. If you are a vegan, you want to tell me to come off? Again, comments below.
Can I just say,
don't worry about it.
I'm a firm believer that everywhere should have a vegan option, and that vegan option should be fuck off.
Yeah.
So
Again, comments below.
yeah.
Throne and Liberty gets a new trailer. Never heard of it. NC Soft MMO RPG got a new trailer today.
Fuck me, there's a mouthful and a half, isn't it, man? NC Soft's MMORPG. Oh,
Yes.
knackered already, man.
Showing off some epic monsters players will face off when it comes to Xbox Series X, PS5, and PC. Now, I've played some NC Soft MMORPGs. They're okay. I wouldn't
They're
choose
all
them over
fucking
Final Fantasy
same.
14. I wouldn't choose it over WoW. I wouldn't choose it over even Diablo 4. So if you're into it, 100%, I totally get
I
it.
mean,
I get why.
The ice reindeer looks nice. So
The art style looks nice, but I found all NC Soft games to look nice. It's just very, very grindy. I found all the games very, 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 very grindy. And as formerly mentioned, I don't have unlimited time, so therefore
I don't have unlimited time or patience.
No, so it's probably going to be a pass from me. Again, folks, if you want to go and check out the trailer, do go and check out the trailer. Do let me
You
know.
should probably
below.
watch the trailer for all of these things.
Yeah, that's it. That's definitely what you
give
should
everything
do.
a fair crack of the whip, right? Including Liam Hemsworth, all right? Leave him alone. It's not his fault.
That's it. Now, we previously touched on this game earlier. Party Animals.
Yes.
Now, gets a release date. TJ is very excited about this. It's a brawler game.
I'm excited
featuring
for my
adorable
community
animals.
because we are definitely playing this on Twitch.
So it's coming out on September 20th. They got a new look at the game to celebrate the announcement. Now, this came out on a beta ages ago. You told me
it was a closed beta. Like they did a closed beta weekend. I obviously wasn't part of it. I didn't actually know about the game at the time, but it was a long time ago, at least a couple of years ago. And then the game just kind of went very silent, very little. Like there was a few announcements, but nothing big. And it's been in my wish list ever since, ever since I can remember, easily the last 2 years. Just waiting, hoping, waiting.
And now the time has finally come.
And now I'm going to get on my hands and knees and scream, I did it!
Yeah, we did it! We did it!
What are you going to give him, TJ? I'm going to
that.
give him my house.
No. I'm like 15 quid tops.
Yeah. I'm gonna link you that video actually.
Yeah, definitely do that. Definitely do that.
So this is coming to PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. So there is no word on PlayStation currently. So we may see more of this tomorrow night. Because being that Xbox are on their showcase tomorrow, I can't imagine that this won't go without at least a snippet of some gameplay.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
In terms of actually, Xbox game tomorrow, Microsoft are uniquely positioned because usually at this point in terms of the summer when they're going into games reveals, traditionally E3, they've usually kind of been on the back foot, and Sony, out of the two of them, Sony usually historically the stronger. I feel Sony have been shit for the past sort of couple of months. I've not really seen anything that's really made me go, oh, holy fuck, I'm so glad I've got a PlayStation. And I feel it's been long enough now that Microsoft, because they put a lot of fucking studios over the past sort of 5 or 6 years, and I feel that a lot of the acquisitions were long enough away that you could potentially see a lot of shit like tomorrow. I mean, there's a big thing about Double Fine. Apparently, Double Fine have got something to show, and I know Double Fine aren't the biggest fucking name in games, but I've basically loved everything they've ever made. Right back from the old point and click adventures, right up to things like you've heard me wax lyrical about Psychonauts for probably 15 years now. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
I've never played the sequel.
I have actually.
Oh,
I have, yeah, because you got it. I haven't played it all, but I have played it.
I haven't got it on PlayStation. It's not on PlayStation. Double Fine's owned by Xbox.
Yeah, I know they are, but I've got it somewhere.
You may watch me play. I played a bit of Psychonauts.
It might do.
Yeah, but no.
Watching is exactly the same as playing, as we worked out earlier.
Well, yeah, it fucking is these days, isn't it? Especially if you're Metal Gear. Same thing, isn't it? Anyway, sorry.
While we end, because this is coming right to the end of this now, Xbox and Porsche partner on new designs. Now, I'm sorry.
They're fucking horrible.
This console looked fucking horrible. They basically put a load of rainbow things and stuck a Porsche fucking sticker on an Xbox Series 1 X sell.
We'll have to get
Is
our
the
mates
part-
right
can I just ask?
when he goes and works for Porsche.
Yeah,
Is the
you'll get one.
partnership like? Is it gonna? Does it link in with Forza or something? Like I don't.
No.
Like they like.
No.
It seems like a really fucking random partnership.
It really did.
Because if you tied it in with a game, it makes a lot of sense. But Porsche and Xbox, like it just doesn't. It's like one of the like it doesn't.
He's just waiting for Exhibit to bust out a fucking curtain at the back to it. Yo, dog, I heard you like gaming, so
I'm
I'll
gonna
put an
pimp your
Xbox in your Porsche,
Xbox.
motherfucker.
It's like yeah, pimp my
So-
Xbox. Here we go.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's in celebration of Porsche's 75th anniversary. They're not for sale. The disgusting consoles. You can enter a sweepstake to
win them.
one. So that will be.
They'll probably
one
actually be
sweepstake,
worth a little
maybe
bit of
more.
money.
They'll
Yeah,
be
I
worth
mean, it will
a
be.
fuck ton of money.
Mm.
Like
He'll
you
be
probably
to the
look
collector.
5-6 figures.
Yeah,
Easy.
it's one of
collector.
it's one of those consoles you don't take out of the fucking box.
Yeah, for real.
You sit on it for a bit, and then you'll make money on it. Right, so that actually covers all of the Game Fest that happened sort of Thursday and Friday. Obviously, there is more to come. Capcom are coming back on Monday. Xbox is tonight at this point in time. So there's lots more to come, kids. I know Devolver had announcements as well. I quite like Devolver, however, I didn't catch it. So if you did catch it, and there's some games that you want us to talk about, please do put them in the comments below. Right, so I know that we had other stuff to talk about. I'm struggling to remember what it was. Yes. Now, this doesn't involve Rich so much because he doesn't stream, but obviously TJ and I are both streamers. So the Twitch's terms of service changing and how they quickly reversed their terms of service changing after a
Not quick enough for some.
backlash. No. So I know that Kick made a big joke about Twitch started on this day and then died on this day.
It was fucking brutal. People changed the Wikipedia page to say that Twitch died on the 6th of July. Like,
Now,
cold.
yeah, I'm going to let TJ talk a little bit about this because he paid a lot more attention to it than I did. So, what was the gist of it, T?
So pretty much, yeah. I won't go into the partner stuff. I'll just stick with the advertising portion of it because the partner stuff is. I'm not a Twitch partner, unfortunately. But I will say now there is no reason to be a Twitch partner because it's pretty much the same as affiliate. But anyway, it's centered around like advertisement and monetization of advertisements. So pretty much they come out with this whole like PowerPoint presentation with pictures and saying about how. As a Twitch streamer, that you are not allowed to pretty much have like any advertisement on your stream. You weren't allowed embedded videos, embedded audio. You weren't going to be allowed. So you were allowed a small logo of like an advertisement. 3% of your screen. So and like there were people worked out how big that actually was in pixel size and put up images of it all over Twitter. And literally,
like
you would need. Yeah, you would need a magnifying glass to see the advertisement. A lot of people obviously got very pissed off about it because like streaming is obviously a career for a lot of people, but a lot of people like they get a lot of subs and bits and donations, but a lot of people also make their money from sponsorship deals that they have with people, whether that would be Razer, Corsair, it could be Samsung, it could be anyone, and obviously this was taking money directly away from them because Twitch have this thing that they started up like an ads program where you could pretty much work with them to get sponsors and stuff, but they would obviously take a cut and it's their sponsorship deal that they're giving to you pretty much. And so obviously this hit hard for a lot of people. What it also said was like not being able to have the embedded videos and so on and so forth. Tournaments would be like completely eradicated technically from Twitch because like Fortnite tournaments, Rocket League tournaments and everything, they're all like sponsored tournament events. Loads of sponsorship banners, loads of like embedded videos, like audio files and bits and pieces. Not being able to have any of that, well, you're not going to be able to have your tournament on Twitch anymore. The other thing that they hit was once you sign up to it's always been a thing. If you're an affiliate or a partner, you are tied in to, and it's not an exclusivity to Twitch, but while you're streaming live on Twitch, you cannot stream on any other web-based streaming site. So that would be a Kick, a YouTube, Rumble, that now come out as a streaming service. You can't simulcast on those while you're live on Twitch. If you didn't take up the affiliate or partner program, then you could do. Ninja was quite famously one of the proponents of this, streaming on like 5 platforms at exactly the same time. Twitch decided to roll that back and say, no, nobody, when you're streaming live on Twitch, the TOS now states that nobody can simulcast. You can only stream on Twitch on a web-based streaming service. But what you could do is you can stream at the same time on a mobile-first streaming, which is TikTok, pretty much. And obviously that pissed off a lot of people. People were saying they were going to boycott. You had all the big commentators through Twitch, whether that be like an Asmongold or like Charlie, Moist Critical, coming out and absolutely slamming. Like Devon Nash came out, absolutely slammed Twitch to the ground. Twitch come out and were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And their first kind of retort to it kind of treated people like we were idiots, because they turned around and said, well, it seems like it's been misunderstood. What we were trying to do has been misunderstood. It's like, how can I misunderstood the PowerPoint thing that you put forward of 6 or 7 full detailed images of what we are and aren't allowed? I'm not an idiot. I'm not like elementary school. I'm a grown adult. I can understand what I'm looking at, and I can understand.
He is an idiot. Don't believe him.
Shut up, you. The basics of what you've changed these TOS to be. So their second port of call was to roll back all the pictures and the PowerPoint shit, and saying, no, look, we're rolling it back. But the actual wording in the TOS stayed exactly the same. They never changed that wording, which once again got people's backs up, because they were like, well, you haven't actually fucking changed anything. It still says you cannot have advertisement, pretty much. And then finally, a couple of days later, they went full. They pulled it all the way back, and they've changed the actual TOS now to say that you are allowed sponsors, you are allowed advertisement, but you're not allowed third party. I won't get the actual thing up, but it was you're not allowed third party. Hang on, let me get 2 seconds. I will get the guys up. And I can read out exactly.
We're experiencing technical difficulties.
No, I should have had this pulled up, but
please hold.
Right, here we go. So what it was previously was Twitch has the exclusive right to monetize the Twitch services, including without limitation the exclusive rights to sell, serve, and display advertisements on the Twitch service. This means, this is the key point here, this means you may not, nor may you allow a third party to insert or embed pre-recorded advertisement unit into your live stream, including without limitation to video advertisements, whether they be pre, mid, or post-roll, display, or banner and advertisement, and audio advertisement. So pretty much, you or any third party cannot do that. They then changed it to third party advertising networks are not allowed to serve advertising through the Twitch services. However, you can publish branded content using the Twitch services as set forth in section 9 above. So pretty much they're like, they were going after stuff like Stream Elements and stuff. Like a Stream Elements are pushing sponsorships like crazy through companies like HelloFresh, like Raid Shadow Legends, play this game, get loads of people to sign up, and then you'll get free shit and you'll get loads of money. And that's the kind of thing Twitch are wanting to avoid, because Twitch want to push their own sponsorship in that kind of direction themselves. So it was a kind of a shitstorm for a few days. I think it's pissed off a lot of people. Kick took a very hard line stance against Twitch, and we're like, come over here, we're 95.5 on the sub split, we will never do this to you, we'll never change our TOS, we're always going to look after you, you just need to dodge like Aiden Ross and his homophobic nastiness that he's got going over here. As long as you can do that, you'll be fine on Kick. Sorry Aiden, but you're a tool of epic fucking proportion. Sorry, not sorry. And it seems to have all simmered down, but I had a conversation with Jay about it, and my feeling with it was that like me and Jay are smaller streamers. We don't really have much advertisement or anything stream, but I felt that this affected us. It affected the platform and everyone within the platform, because I see Twitch as a platform that is very much propped up by its 0.1% of streamers, your XQCs, that earn millions and millions, and then you've got us lowlies down the bottom who are pretty much, we're inconsequential to Twitch. If we all left tomorrow, they wouldn't give a flying fuck. But if all of your high profile stars leave, you've got a barren platform, and it's a platform that's going to die. So therefore it affects everyone on the platform. And yeah, I just saw that if I said to Jay, like, if this isn't reverted back, I give Twitch 18 months. Like, it's that bad. And thankfully they pulled it back. I do think they've burnt some bridges, especially with the partner stuff that I said I wasn't going to go into, which I won't. And I do think there's still some murky waters that Twitch have got to go through over the next probably 6 months. And I do think they will lose people because of this, and definitely because of the simulcasting thing. Ninja's already said that he's done with Twitch, like, because he can't, like, he put it this way: do I stream on just Twitch or 4 other platforms at the same time? And not Of course, he doesn't make any money directly from Twitch, so why the fuck is he going to be over there if it's of no benefit to him? Like, if they don't, you know. So, and I feel a few people will soon move on. I think Kick will make a play for some people, and Rumble will make a play for some people, and you know, I think this time next year will be very interesting. I have made the decision that I am going to. Twitch is my home at this moment in time, and it will be as long as they're not pulling dick moves. But I do want to see what it's like elsewhere. I'll keep my regular days that I do on Twitch, but I am going to put in some extra streams. I'm putting some stuff on TikTok currently. I'm going to go and have a look what YouTube's like. Kick, I'm uncertain about if I'm going to do anything over there. But just to see what it's like, because if the shit does hit the fan, if the shit hits the fan, I would like to actually have some understanding about how the other platforms work and run. I don't just want to be like a headless chicken trying to run and going, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'd like to have some kind of an idea of where I would like to land if shit did hit the fan. I
mean, don't get me wrong. Kick looks very.
I get the appeal.
It looks, it's got a good appeal to it, but like.
But there's a real ugly underside to it, which they need to sort out.
I mean, they allow people to just watch films over there, to play any music over there, and unfortunately, my opinion is that House of Cards is going to fall down as soon as one person kicks out one of the sides.
I don't know how the 95-5 split works in terms of like how. I know they're propped up by a massive gambling website, Stake, but I don't get like how that revenue. Pretty much, the other thing is as well, they pay Twitch for Twitch's services. Because it's a reskin of Twitch. Kick is an exact reskin of Twitch. And it has actually come out that they pay Amazon to use their services to enable them to run. So...
No way.
They do, because it came out of the blue like that. Like, a couple of people... There's a big thing at Twitch. Like, they stopped gambling being able to be a thing with Stake on Twitch. So Stake then were like, well, fuck you, we'll do our own thing. So it was. They weren't expecting to have to do their own thing. It was a quick pivot. So it's like, fuck, we'll give them money. They might be building their. They might well be building their own infrastructure. Like,
it make no sense.
I don't know. The Stake have a fuck ton of money. That's for sure. So they probably could do something, but it's a wait and see.
That's it. Definitely is. So there you go, kids. That's how we feel on it. I mean, it's a rough thing to navigate. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time for everyone to sort of work out where they want to be, what stance they're gonna take. You're gonna lose some big streamers.
I've stayed very quiet because it doesn't legitimately affect me.
It just feels like the Twitch CEO, and all the people upstairs. It seems like a massive cash grab from them to take money from the creator when ultimately the creator is what their platform.
Hinges upon.
And I just, because the other big thing that I didn't mention is, like 6 months ago, they dropped the revenue split for partners from 70-30 to 50-50, which is exactly what me and Jay get as affiliates. And like I say, there is now no incentive to be a partner because they've removed loads of other stuff as well. And you kind of like look after, like, you need to look after, I say, you look after those, the top heavy people. It kind of filters on. Like, it keeps the platform whole.
You don't go to Twitch for Twitch. You
No.
go to Twitch for people
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Twitch, and they seem to have forgotten. They seem to have been confused that their brand was based around individuals.
That's
So
it. So, I
once
mean,
those individuals move on, you have no brand.
Exactly.
No Amaranth here, mate. Then
Yeah.
they'll go
Yeah.
wherever Amaranth is. They don't give a shit about where she is. They only give a shit about seeing her or seeing XQC.
Yeah.
Or is it XQC?
See, yeah, XQCs, yes, they're the people that people will follow. Like the people like I say, myself and Jay, if we were to leave and go over to Kick, our communities are tied into Twitch, the Twitch infrastructure.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to come and join us. We'd have to make new communities. Whereas someone like an XQC, he is the driving force behind his community. People will follow him. And Amaranth and whoever else you want to say, Hassan RB. Yeah, Asmongold. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think, like I say, the next 6 months are going to be very telling to see how Twitch play this, because I think they need to be very, very careful, because you can only rock the boat so many times.
This podcast is on YouTube. You can't find us on Twitch.
Well, you can find us on Twitch, like
yeah,
me
you
and
can find
me
me
and
and
PJ.
PJ, and you can find Rich on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Me.
In stream with him.
Yeah. So, but obviously we do this on YouTube because we need this to be
And
found,
Spotify,
I guess.
Spotify.
And Spotify, obviously. But that's the audio. So we do this on YouTube so that, like, obviously we don't expect everyone to be able to catch this as soon as it comes out on Sunday. So we think, well, we'll put them all out there, and then if they want to find them and they find a couple of episodes or some of the wonderful put together shorts that TJ does for us, then you might come over here and you might come listen to three blokes talk shit, which is what we want
for multiple hours at a time.
That's it, because we talk for long periods of time. Of course, you don't have to listen to it all at once, but that's why it's on Spotify. So if you're doing a ridiculous long drive like I do in my job,
beauty of a podcast,
then you can just put on a podcast and you can listen to us, and you're going to be able to find all the videos that we talk about on everything, because TJ, not only that, TJ's going to put the link below in the comments, but also, Summer Games Fest is a massive thing. It's not as big as E3, but it's going to get there because E3 is probably going away.
Deceased. Well, it's dead. It's dead.
I think it is pretty much dead. So
yeah, they cancelled it this year because all three major hardware. Sony said, I think it was after 2018. Sony said we're done with this shit, and then both Microsoft and Nintendo said no, we'll have no presence. So it's dead.
Yeah.
Without platform holders, it is no more. It is an X conference.
And to be honest, it's a lot cheaper for every developer to produce their own. If you're a big enough sort of publishers, such as like your Devolvers, Ubisoft, Capcom, it's easier for them to put on a video on YouTube, on Twitch, and have people just come watch exactly their content, and then it goes away, appears as a VOD, appears as a YouTube thing. So they're not going to spend the money on sending all the shit to E3 for, reports to come play.
Yeah, it's better in terms of competition as well, because E3 was like, you'd have that much shit. If say fucking, it started on a Monday, if you hadn't paid any attention, you open up something on Friday, like IGN, what was unveiled this week, you might have 300 fucking trailers to watch. Yeah. So, you're not going to sit there and watch all of them in one go. You're going to go, you. Whereas, like, I feel like the publishers have realised that actually you're more likely to pay attention to our shit if there's only our shit we're showing you at this point in time. So this is why you don't have Microsoft don't do a showcase the same day as Sony, who don't do it the same day as Nintendo. Yeah. Because it's just like, well, you've got 3 weeks where everyone's just talking about Zelda. Now, all everyone's talking about is how badly you fucked it, Sony. Then now, as of tomorrow, you'll have 3 weeks where everyone's talking about what Microsoft did.
Yeah.
Which probably is going to be Starfield, because love space, hate space. This is basically the next Fallout, next Skyrim that people have been chomping at the bit for. Through 3 delays now? 3 delays, I think. Because that game's not out until September time.
Three delays and Todd Howard's smug fucking face.
Yeah, you got to suffer that.
You hope September, right? You hope. You hope.
I hope September, yeah. I'm hoping it's going to kick fucking Star Citizen's ass to fucking make them do something. But
yeah, release some more ships for you, Jay. That's what they're going to do.
Need to fucking buy. That's what they're going to do.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Sucker here will buy them. Right, I suppose this is the point of the podcast where we get to any other business. So, boys, is there any other business? Is there anything else you want to talk about before we shut this fucking long ass podcast down?
Well, the only other thing was about the couple of
you wanted
games.
to talk about your
Well, it's up to you
games,
guys. I
didn't you?
mean, we have been going for 2.5 hours, so if you want me to
I'm
cover
happy.
this,
I'm happy to talk a little bit more about the live service cancellations because I know that we said at the top of the pod we would talk about it.
Okay, I'll just quickly go over them. So the two games are Friday the 13th and VHS. I've just got the things that they wrote. So this was from Friday the 13th, who are made by Gun Media, who are obviously the new. They've got a new game coming out, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which had a closed tech test, which I managed to take part in. Very, very fun game. Very, very good game. Never played Friday the 13th.
I got an invite, but I didn't play.
So they said, the time has come. Our license for Friday the 13th will expire on December the 31st, 2023. On that date, Friday the 13th, the game will no longer be available for sale both physically and digitally. The game will, however, continue to function through at least to December 31st, 2024. If you already own it at this time, it will continue through to December 31st if you already own it. We've taken the decision to reduce the price to $4.99 for the base game and 99 cents for each DLC content. We continue to offer the title and content at that price right up till it's removed from digital and physical storefronts December 2023. We would like to thank you, the community, for the dedication you've shown to Friday the 13th, the game and Gun Interactive as a whole, and we are happy the game will live on for a while longer. And continue to be enjoyed by many more of you. So the interesting thing with this is obviously there was a massive license issue with Friday the 13th. The developers didn't really get the licensing down. They still released the game. There was a big court case. They then pivoted. They weren't allowed. So the ruling come down that they weren't allowed to create any more content for it. So literally the game was as was.
That guy's a bit of a douchebag, though, as I understand it, isn't he?
I don't. Well,
the owner, the creator, or something.
I don't really know because they've been very, very good with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They got the license for that, full license. Like I said,
no, I meant the Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of shit with Friday the 13th because from the original director, the writer, like there's loads of like back and forth. But there was also apparently
who owns what? And so on.
Licensing in America is massive.
One day I'll go into the story of fucking Miracle Man, the comic book. You want to hear fucking messy licensing bullshit? I'll go in with that.
Yeah.
To the point where comic books were written to fund lawyers.
Oh really?
Like yeah, for shit, man. Yeah,
it's like copyright law and shit. Like, and who owns the copyright for this? Because you can own the copyright for like part of it, but not this part. And it's especially when you start getting into sequels and stuff like films, because each different film has got a different license holder, you know, like it's mental because they buy the rights to make this film, so then they own the rights for that film, but not the original. It's just fucking mental. But yeah, so and the news also.
You know the biggest. Sorry, just before
that's
you
all right.
move on to something. Do you want to know the single biggest fuck up in terms of film licensing that has ever happened in history? And that would be in the 90s when Marvel nearly went bankrupt. And they sold they sold their film rights to everybody. And Sony are responsible for the biggest fuck up ever. In that Sony says, "Oh, we'll buy the rights for Spider-Man off you for something like 30 fucking million." And Marvel went, "Cool, you can do that. How about the rights to every single one of our characters for like 59 million?" And Sony said, "No, nobody gives a shit about any Marvel character other than Spider-Man, and only bought Spider-Man." Boys, you fucked up.
Yep, you fucked up.
Well well done, Tony.
Yeah, you fucked up bad.
But yeah, just the other thing news that came out Friday the 13th is that there is actually a new game coming out. New developers, new team behind it. Haven't released any information whether it's going to be an ASIM or whether it's going to be a solo story game. Don't know. So there's that thing. The other game.
They have the license?
They do. Oh yeah, the license is all apparently sorted now because a lot of people thought that Dead by Daylight would go in for the license to get Jason Voorhees. Now looks like they're going to get their own standalone game. Whoever the company is with the new Friday.
I mean, they could make a pseudo Voorhees.
Well, there kind of is with the Trapper, who's an original character. But the other one, a couple of days later, and this plays more into the development side of things, is VHS, which was rebranded as Video Horror Society. a game that had lots of promise, but then had lots of roadblocks and hurdles that the developers were so stupid with. So they put out a press thing. It was we have some unfortunate news about the future of our game. After 2 betas and nearly a year in early access, dun, 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 early access, Rich. We have made the very difficult decision to sunset Video Horror Society. We know the game means so much to so many of you, and we want to take a moment to explain our reasoning. We have transitioned to peer-to-peer matchmaking over the next 3 months. We will be ending the live services so we can focus on other projects. On September the 8th, 2023, we'll be removing Video Horror Society from Steam and Epic and shutting down the game completely. We really hate goodbyes. Video Horror Society has been an absolute joy for us to work on. Blah, 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 blah. I ain't really too worried about the rest of it. The rest of it's all, you know, they talk about their team of talented people and things. Yeah. This is a case of like developers sitting on their asses, not advertising their game, and really just dropping the ball massively, because this had a lot of people interested in VHS. People were calling it the DVD rival, the DVD killer in some sections. Yeah. Very, very interesting. They made categorical errors in the fact that they had a closed beta which they released keys. The closed beta went on for months and they released waves of keys. The problem is there was no like MMR system in place. So the people that got the first bunch of keys, they'd be playing the game for like a month. The next lot of keys would drop, or a couple of weeks, the next lot of keys. Then they would go and spank all the newbies that come in and make it an unenjoyable experience for the newbies. I got a key about the 3rd or 4th wave, went in, played a handful of games, was like, this is fucking shit. Went in as a monster, got absolutely slapped the shit out of in about 30 seconds. It was like, game done. I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. Like I can't even get good at the game because these other people have put so much time and effort in. Like there's no... Like this, the standard is already too high for the people, you know, and it makes the barrier to entry very, very difficult. Then when they went into early beta, they didn't fucking tell anyone. There was no advertisement. It was literally like, oh shit, yeah. By the way, last week we released. We were early access, should say. We went into early access. Oh yeah, cool. Did we forget to tell you? Sorry. Oh, yeah. They literally put all their eggs in the streamer basket, in the fact that all these big names will play our game and tell everyone about it and it'll be amazing. That's not how it fucking works. You've actually got to put some money out there and actually advertise your game. No one fucking knew. They did get hit with some security issues where people managed to hack them and steal some information, so they had to shut down as well for a short amount of time where they tightened things up. But once again, wasn't very clear, didn't really talk to too many people. When it went back live, there wasn't this big hoo-ha of advertisement or anything, and people just didn't know. And people got bored, people forgot about it. And unfortunately, what had the promise to be a very, very entertaining and good game just was let down by poor decision-making directly by the developers, you know. And it's a shame. It is a shame because, like I say, it had promise. It looks good, had a really good art style, but just, it's poor management.
I mean, not to just suck DVDs, Dick, but unfortunately DVD is such a monster now, excuse the pun, that like, you're not really going to be able to touch DVD
I don't think
just for the sheer amount of content that you've got.
I think it was more like it's not. They never sold themselves as a DVD rival or like competitor.
That's how the community.
It's how the community. The community.
That's how the community see every.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I was about to say. Like, people have been saying the same about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's a completely different game. Like, you're never going to topple DVD. As I said this to loads of people that have come in and said this to me, I'm like, DVD's got 7 years of content behind it. You can go and play. Tell me another game that you can go and play as like classic, iconic characters like Myers, Ghostface, like Bubba, fucking Freddy Krueger. There isn't one out there. DVD have like the licenses. They have so much content out there. It's what draws people back in, because you get to play as your, like, the fantasy to play as Michael Myers. You know, it's there. You know, the only thing that's gonna fuck up DVD is its own development team, like, just cocking it up, you know, which is highly possible. And the community is toxic as fuck. You know, they've already started laying in on TCM, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the community, and like slating the game. And half of these people that slated hadn't even played the game because it was a closed tech test that only 9,000 people got to play. I think it was 9,000 keys got sent out. You know, so it's like, I highly doubt all these people, thousands of people that are slagging the game off, even got to play the fucking game, you know?
People that make their judgments just on YouTube.
I played it. It's very, very fun. I felt that it did suffer from that little bit of the same thing. People had played 100 hours in the first couple of days, and you're like,
Jesus.
well, not 100 hours, that's an exaggeration. Like about 50 hours in the first few days, and you're like, this is really fucking difficult to go against them. But it still didn't stop the game being fun, and it has new dynamics, like it's 3 killers against 4 survivors. I've never done that before, so actually having to co-op with other killers, like, and actually have, like, say, like, you know, like in your Apex and stuff, like you have roles, like who, you know, like you play Lifeline. Lifeline's like a medic character, isn't she? You know, like you've got support characters and other bits and pieces. They actually, the killers in this have specific roles and specific tasks, and it's fun and it's cool. And if you don't work as a team, you're going to get stomped. You know, and what makes the Survivor great is they've taken the biggest problem with DBD Survivor, which is solo queue. You can't trust the fucking teammates because they could just fuck off and leave you, like, and not help you, leave you on hook to die. In this one, well, in this one, you don't need the other survivors to escape. You can escape. I did it plenty of times. You can escape off your own, like, back. You know, it's a little bit harder, but you can't escape solely by yourself in DBD because it's 5 gens. You know, it's too much to do. You need you to at some point to work in some kind of uniformity as a team, like doing. Hope your teammates are doing other things on the map. This one, you don't need to. You can literally just you can do certain bits and pieces to get yourself out by yourself, which I think it's such a smart move by them. So it's, you know, but yeah, it's a shame that we're like a couple of games of like I say, but if it just goes to show with the more on the developer side, if you don't get all your ducks in a row, you don't do the simple things like advertising your game or getting the license properly in order for your game, you're going to have issues. And it's so like it's like it's like kindergarten shit, like to not advertise or to not make sure you've got a license, and to, like, you know, way to ruin a game, guys. You know, way to like destroy all this hard work that you put in by not doing the basics.
So I liked what I played of Friday the 13th.
I'm going to buy it at $4.99, considering it's still going to be here for at least a year. I'm going to buy it to play it. Because I want to, I feel, you know, I feel I owe it to play it because, you know, it's right in my wheelhouse of games.
I can see how it would get tiresome because, you know, unfortunately, Voorhees, although he's got quite a lot of kills, like kill animations, he kind of feels like you're playing the same character all the time, even with the different skins, which give you slightly different abilities. Yeah, like it wasn't really enough. Now I haven't played it since release, so and I found
there could be all kinds of next shit.
Yeah, it could be completely different now.
Well, the thing is, when
my main issue was the survivors.
Well, the problem is obviously the minute it went to court and everything, they lost the right to create any new content for the game, so the game stagnated and stayed at exactly the point it was at. And like I say, I haven't played it yet, so I don't know where it's at. How many? Obviously, there's different cosmetics you can get for Jason, and like different kill animations, and I don't know how many survivors, like different survivors in the game. That's a good thing about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because what they have done is they've got on board the original creator of the original. It's based on the first game, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's actually like a prequel to it.
First film.
And the first film, and and by having the original writer, they can create original content and lore that isn't part of the, like, what we know as the film, but because it's done canon. It's canon because it's done by the original writer. So I always said that their biggest problem is going to be content and keeping people happy, like, because how can they get more content? They've gone and got the original creator, and the creator is working on standalone content for them within the lore, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all you can really do in that aspect if you're going to focus solely around one thing. You know, the problem with Friday the 13th is it's just Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. As I said earlier about DBD's got
you've got so many of everything.
Exactly. So each killer feels unique. Each killer feels different. You know, the Survivor gameplay is very similar. Yeah, which is my issue mainly with DBDs. That, like, I played Survivor more than I played Killer. Yeah. So therefore, running around being chased is fun, and it's the best aspect about the game. However, just sitting on a gen for 90 seconds while you wait for a bar to fill up is a bit
tedious. Yeah.
It's funny you should interject with something totally different here. It's funny you should bring up Apex, because Apex has actually done something to really annoy me this week. but not the video game. The board game has actually pissed me off because there's an Apex Legends board game
I
on
didn't know that.
Kickstarter.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
which it finished this week. It got way more than its funding goal. You know, it's happening, it's being made and everything. But they've almost taken an EA approach to making a board game in that you've got half the characters.
Yeah, and you pay for the extra
half the characters, and then they'll be like they've already said they'll be, depending on how well it does, there'll be separate seasons. And the thing that was really egregious to me was you have to pay extra to have the solo and the co-op mode. And I'm like, that's bullshit. That is literal EA. You're taking something out of a game to send it back to me. Bullshit. You know. So when art imitates life, eh?
Yeah, that's I suppose, you know, got to get their money somehow, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, I've still backed the game all in.
I was gonna say, I still fucking bought it. Fuck it.
Yeah, 220 quid, still 100% all in. You know, I mean, for me, like, the game itself does look really good. It's the models I'm more bothered about, you know, as a painter, because all the models, they come with, like, every character's got a separate diorama, and I really like the idea of all the people I play Apex with. Like, who's your main Jay? Lifeline. Pick your favourite Lifeline skin. Cool, I'm painting this Lifeline model as Jay's Lifeline skin. Do you know what I mean?
It's like, you know, I totally see like what you'd been for. I mean, the problem is board games themselves, just a little sidetrack here, board games themselves are getting to that point with a lot of board games, Rich, I think you'll agree, especially in the Kickstarter stages where they expect so much money, and then on top of that, shipping becomes so much as well.
Yeah.
But, like, I've actually had to step away from Kickstarter, and I've said to Rich millions of times that until I get all my Kickstarter finally fulfilled, I'm not going to look at Kickstarter again, because it's very easy to fall down to the Kickstarter rabbit hole where, like, you see a couple of things and you go, oh, you know, I'll just put a pound on it.
Oh yeah, I've spent fucking thousands on Kickstarter for stuff that I still haven't got. You know, but Madness, Dawn of Madness, sorry, I backed that 3-4 years ago. But like 500 quid, I paid 60 quid just for a fucking box for that game. Well, where the fuck is it? You know.
And, you know, then you're just watching updates. I mean, I'm waiting on Divinity, the board game. I'm waiting on Eulidian Chronicles. And both those things just haven't come to any fruition yet. You know, they're still working on them, I'm sure. But it's been years at this point.
If I have to mention the words Kingdom Death Monster again, I'm going to die inside.
Exactly.
Because it's the only thing that you've been waiting for longer to come out than Star Citizen. Yeah. Because they're roughly around the same sort. Yeah. Like to give you a brief idea, right? Kingdom Death Monster is I was explaining this to another friend of mine earlier, Jody. It's widely regarded as the Ferrari of the board game world. Right. Okay. So the core box you can't go and buy in shops. You have to buy from a boutique store because the core game alone costs £300 and comes in a box fucking this big with loads of models that you make. It's fucking awesome. It's a wicked game, right? The Kickstarter was originally fucking sold. So you had the core box. There was Wave 2, which was a set of 12 expansions. Then there was Wave 3, which was something called the Campaigns of Death, and a box called the Gambler's Chest, which had loads of new mechanics to the game. And then there was Wave 4, which is another 16 set of expansions. Right. The Kickstarter ended 10 years ago. Wave 2 is out.
Yeah. So,
the whole game was supposed to have been shipped by 2018. So we're currently in 2023, and we've currently received half of the game.
Yeah.
And it looks like
both of you have this?
No, I don't.
No, just me. Just me.
Rich.
Yeah, I mean, to give you an example, this one board game I have, I've currently got the core game. I've got all 12 expansions. I've bought every other month they release loads of like miniatures in the shop. You know, they don't have any gameplay content. They're just cool looking miniatures. Yep. And I promised myself I'd never buy any of them, and now I've got fucking shitloads of them. I've bought, because the game's so expensive and so rare, I've got custom foam carrying cases for all the models. I have spent literally £2,000 on this one board game so far.
Ooh.
Yeah. So everyone has their own weird crack, shall we say?
I have too many of them, unfortunately.
I need to know what mine is then. Like, yours is Star Citizen, yours is a board game. What's mine? Masturbating. Probably.
Oh no, I've got plastic crack in general. Like, I've got Probably 3,000 unpainted models sitting in my spare room.
Yeah.
That's it. I got about 3,000 games that I'll look at and go, I will play you one day, but not today.
Yeah, that was my lovely little digression.
Well, you look at Star Citizen and be like, I'd like to play you today.
Yeah,
but I can't.
That's generally how I look at Star Citizen all the time. I'm like, will you ever be fully functional? No,
she's like the mistress that's just like never puts out.
My wife's going to get my Star Citizen account in my will, and she'll go, he spent how much on this?
She's going to be like, you prick.
It'd be great because she'll sell everything for what you told her you paid for it.
Yeah, well, she will on the grey market. She'll just sell it on there.
Yeah.
Game still won't be out, and I'm fucking 85. Right.
We'll be flying in space before, like literally flying in space before you're actually able to play like a space game.
You're flying in space game.
I'd like to say that they're wrong, but they're not.
Nope.
Right, I think we're going to close ourselves out right about there. It's getting pretty late. I'm pretty tired. I can't stop yawning. But
I'm starving as well, man.
But I will say thank you, everyone that come to join us. Thank you if this is your first time. Thank you if it's your 50th time. I don't know how you've done that. I
was going to say, good luck if you've done that. You're time traveling, fucking wizard.
But what we will say is, please don't make it your last time.
Yeah, don't make it.
Yeah. Just remember, time travel. Time travel. Remember.
We can't promise when the next one will be, but I'm sure me and TJ will try and figure out a film to watch so you can catch our opinions.
We'll figure something.
Yeah. So we will be back. Don't worry, kids. Thank you as always to my wonderful co-hosts, guys.
Rich, Live Convoy on Instagram. Peace.
Yeah, Proper TJ over on Twitch, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah.
And I, of course, have been Firefly Zero. You can catch me on Twitch when I can be asked to stream. Yeah. Anyway, kids.
And I hope you've enjoyed the show. And if you haven't, fuck you.
Yeah, that's one as well. See you later, kiddies.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up. I ain't never I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you. I ain't so let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up. I ain't never I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you. I ain't here to make